Boom. There we go. We're live. We're live. For anyone that's watching on YouTube, the what do you call it? The VOD or whatever, the recorded version, not the live version, but the recorded version. We're gonna be watching these guys. Buttons. Oh wait, no, we're gonna finish this video. Did that come out? Yes. Oh. Wait. I really should have tested that, but you know what? Whatever. Who cares? Is it over here too? No, it's only in this one. Oh wait, I could fix that right here. I could fix that right now. Literally, this is just on the wrong. Yeah, boom. And then no. Nope. I broke it. I broke it. Oh wait, whatever. We just won't use that one. Whatever. I don't care. I don't care enough to do anything about it right now. Yeah, we're gonna be finishing up this video, and then we're gonna be watching it and like super fast. And maybe I'll do some Factorio, but I kind of don't want to. I'm kind of tired. But I haven't streamed in a while, so yeah. We're here. We're live. Also, but the main thing I really want to watch is this. Destiny makes a centrist Vivek fan question Vivek mid debate, and I'm like, I'm gonna put a like just because. But, bro, there was some sketchy. There was some real brain, like logical. Like there was a giant logic train that Destiny kept on, like they went over the same clip like 500 different times and tried to get this dude to be like, well, you know, and Destiny kept on saying it in slightly different ways, but kind of saying it the same way over and over and over again until this guy that claims that he's a centrist says that that he basically just switches. Like this title is very misleading. It's 3 hours long, but I need to finish. This thing. This made me mad a little bit when I was listening to it, but we need to finish this.
All the conservatives were complaining that the moderator was too hard on Trump. I thought that in that debate, the moderator wasn't even close to Trump. Like,
oh yeah, by the way, this video came out like a month ago, so it was before. Wait, on October 21st. So like, this is before the election.
Do you acknowledge it? Like, well, okay, hold on, wait.
It was like a week before the election.
Okay, can we just? I just want to like walk through one set of facts. Also, if you want to interrupt me or if you want to talk about like another thing, you can do it. I don't want to like hostage take you here.
Well, I think the reason people feel inclined to think about Trump this way is because, well, okay, I speak for myself. Why do I feel like countenancing these policy questions that I really want to get to is incredibly important? Setting aside my own whatever aesthetic, moral judgments, whatever, and it's because like there are millions and millions and millions of Americans who do not have the luxury of being wrong because their bank accounts do not afford it to them, who say and feel and know and are correct that they were better off, and feel and say—
Wait, better off when?
Under Trump's first term than under Biden's term.
Trump's first term ended with 18% unemployment, with a destroyed economy.
They don't hold him responsible for the coronavirus, which I don't think they should. I mean, that's, you know, that was
wait. Then why are we holding Biden responsible for the coronavirus? Because that's the—
No, they're not. That's. I mean,
if you were to say I'm better under Trump, but ignore the last half of his presidency, and then say, well, look at what I am under Biden.
What do you mean last half? COVID came out in like the beginning of 2020. That was less than a year until the election. What are you talking about last half? Like this is another thing that Destiny likes to do, that he likes to do to miss. Like my whole claim on Destiny is that he misguides his audience like a bunch. And this is another thing, another little, like it's all these little tiny bits of lies that he would throw in just to prove a point or whatever. And it just misleads his audience, it radicalizes his audience. That's why like what 70% of his audience is like completely hates Trump and lives in a completely different world. Like Trump, like this guy thinks, and so like 70% of his audience thinks that Trump is like going to be like a king or a dictator. Like he literally said that multiple times. Like there's a high chance, there's a pretty high chance that Trump could become that. And I'm like, bro, like he's lost the plot. He has lost the plot. But yeah.
Who's coming in? By the way, the United States, do you acknowledge that the U.S. is outperforming every other G7, every other OECD country right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is this like? Well, we were better under Trump. You weren't better under Trump. You were better before COVID, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure, under Trump. I mean, and the reason they were better under Trump because he reversed certain economic trends that had been afflicting the United States since 1971, which was the high watermark for working class wages. They stagnated after that and then began to precipitously decline when you factor in inflation. And the reason for that is policy that, if you're a working class person, at the end of the month, there's a certain amount of money in your bank account. And it doesn't matter what you're hearing from conservative media, like that doesn't lie, right? Like there's a certain level of, existential crisis that no amount of media or culture wars or influencers or what have you can fake, right? It's a reality that you come up against. And the reality is that things were really getting bad for working class people. And Trump reversed that trend. In 2019, we saw the first wage increases for working class Americans in 60 years. If you look at the data, 2019, the bottom 25% of wage earners saw 4.5% wage increase, and the top 25% of wage earners only saw a 2% wage increase, which means that Trump was the first president since 1971 to shrink the wealth gap, which is something no one wants to talk about because the free market right obviously really doesn't care and really doesn't want to talk about it, but the left doesn't want to give him credit for that. And you ask, okay, how did he do that? Well, through a series of very intentional policies that started to reverse that trend, policies that had been put in place by, Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, later Joe Biden amping up some of them. So, immigration is a really good example because the policy was so clear and so obvious. There were 3 executive actions that just made the number of illegal immigrants crossing the southern border plummet. And one of the first things Joe Biden did when he came into office was remove those executive orders, which meant that we saw this crisis at the border and, 10 million, 15 million, whatever the number is, illegal immigrants coming into the country. And what that did was immediately halted the wage growth that working class people saw because suddenly you had millions and millions of people competing in a very limited number of industries that had been seeing wage increases because of the limit of illegal labor and because, of course, of the post-pandemic labor crunch. So, things like that where it's like the policy is very, very clear and the way that it helped very specific struggling working class Americans is very, very
Hi, I'm testing out Chat TTS.
It works. It works and it's faster. Thank you.
Clear. So you could say, look, you vote this guy in, we're not going to have a country because we're not going to have a democracy, and we can definitely debate that. But to somebody who is a janitor, who started to suddenly see like wage increase and then to have that taken away by very obvious, clear executive orders because policy really matters, to me, I wouldn't say to that person, you have to put this other higher order thing ahead of whether you can feed your family. Like, to me, I want to live in a country where working class people who we rely on to survive.
Oh yeah, Destiny was actually saying that, basically, he doesn't want to agree. Like he agrees with her on like lower level things but he disagrees with the higher order thing. Yeah, that was like his basic argument, if I can paraphrase from what he said a long time ago. Because I haven't watched this in a while, and I just skipped to this part because I need to finish this video because I want to get to the next one.
Can achieve the American dream so that, it's not something that just the elites can achieve, which is sort of where we were headed in the years before. But
her counter argument was actually pretty damn good. And that's why I'm like, okay, yeah, you just got defeated and he has no rebut to it. He's just letting her talk. It's kind of funny.
This is all just, aside from the questions of character, aside from the questions of January 6th, like there is, at the end of the day, for me, as a person of the left, like this very material reality we're coming up against.
Person of the left.
We and the elites.
Notice how she says person of the left. Look at the chat. Chat takes like what? I think maybe like a good solid 10 seconds before it realizes that this person said something. Destiny's fan base would say that, oh, she just said something dumb. Like, oh, how could someone be on the left and also support Trump? Like that. That's basically like the brain that this chat has.
Developed and allowed this economy to flourish where we did really well, but the people whose labor we rely on to survive were really struggling. And it was when I first realized this, it was not comfortable for me to admit this. I knew I was going to lose all my friends, but I just feel that the data is very clear about that. And I'm not one to say to a person who has much less than you're struggling much more than you have to put my emotional response to this person ahead of being able to feed your family.
Okay, I'm going to put a pin on the economic stuff because I disagree with you on every single economic claim you just made. But we can
actually, I agree with every single economic thing that you just made, but I digress. So we're just gonna just say that.
Come back and we can talk through all of these if you'd like.
As if he's like credible on that piece of information.
I need a sanity test. Okay, this conversation real quick. Okay. Do we believe? I'm just checking. Do we believe that we can know things that we don't directly observe?
True.
So, for instance, if I read a news report and it says, yesterday, a building exploded in New York, can I believe that probably happened with a high degree of certainty, even if I haven't myself seen it?
Yes.
Depends which newspaper.
Mainstream newspaper with millions of readers, if multiple papers are reporting it.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Okay. And I can broadly trust government figures. If the BLS releases a report, sometimes they've got to do revisions, but broadly speaking, I can trust kind of figures that come out, right?
I mean, it depends which ones. Again, there's, a lot of people now at this point in our country who, and I guess this would be my overarching claim is I feel responsible to you as a person that I admire. Like everything we disagree on, I consider that it's the burden is on me to convince you. It's not on you to have And I feel that way doubly so for when it comes to half the country. So if half the country now feels that the Department of Justice has been weaponized against their political choice, right? The sovereign at one time, who's now, of course, an ex-president. But if they feel that way, that is something you and I are responsible to address.
But this is the central thing I'm making. This is the issue that I'm having is conservatives can cause this feeling to occur in people and then point to liberals, and then people in the center will point to liberals and go, well, look, the people have these feelings. You have to do something about it, right? So when you talk about, for instance, the weaponization of the DOJ, that's something that Donald Trump has done. It's inarguable. There's no evidence that it's happened under Biden, but because Donald Trump and the conservatives and all of
I'm sure he's probably going to bring up like some sort of like fact, right? He's not going to just say it and then just move on, right? True? Not true? Let's see.
the people lying in media on his behalf have said that it's happening under Biden, people have that feeling.
Monitor.
And then they come back to the liberals and they go, hey, liberal, you need to address the fact that people feel this way. Well, of course they feel that way. Conservatives have been lying to them about it for years.
Okay, so I'm curious what you make of this counter argument. I do think there's a lot of evidence that it's been weaponized, but the right does try to make this happen more frequently than it succeeds at making this happen. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff you see on Twitter like that they really start to push, and you're like, oh God, this is going to be the latest conspiracy theory. We're going to hear about this forever.
Okay, yes, Trump did weaponize it. I guess in the technical sense of the word, yes. I think it was the what was it? It was he basically. I think California, like I forget which year in California, he basically took away federal funding for natural disasters and stuff like that for California because there was something that the governor was supposed to sign, and I guess he didn't want to sign it. So Trump was like, "Well, I guess you're not going to get federal funding if you don't want to sign these papers." And there's definitely like a reason behind it, and I didn't really look into it to see what the reason was. And obviously it probably was a legitimate reason because if that was such a terrible thing, why aren't they like prosecuting Trump for that specific thing that he did? Because it's on video. Where's that prosecution? Because they're prosecuting Trump on every other thing but that. So I don't see why how I said there was probably a legitimate reason for it, but Destiny would bring that up as a counter. Not in this video, but he said that in another video, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's true. He did weaponize it. So, well, one for you, Destiny, I guess.
And it just doesn't take off. You can see, you talk to people, you go to the local bar, you see it is not taking off. People are just not buying it.
Wait, but people have bought it. All of these.
People bought that one. But I'm telling you, there's a lot of ones that the right tries to push that people don't buy and people don't talk about and don't want to hear about.
Sure, but I mean, when you're pushing 100 conspiracies and people believe 40 of them, that's a massive success.
Well, or you could say that, some of these turned out to be true, right?
No, not really. The left has a bunch of conspiracy theories that a lot of people end up I guess 40% of people end up believing too. So actually, I would argue that there's even more. The whole, I guess I would consider this a conspiracy theory from the left. Police officers are annihilating and eradicating people of color all around the U.S. I know a lot of people that actually believe that that's kind of I would say that's a conspiracy theory, or maybe that's just false. Maybe it's that there's probably more validity to I don't really believe it, so I don't really know exactly how it's supposed to work, but they believe that, and I'm okay, and it's a lot more than I would say a lot more than 40%. I would say a lot of people that would on the left would believe that, yeah. But then Destiny would be oh, is that comparable to what we just talked about? And I'm to me it is. Why are you gonna ask me a subjective question like that? Obviously to me it is. That's why I brought it up.
Joe Biden laptop story, right? Where you had literally people from, CIA saying this is Russian misinformation turned out to be real, right? That's legit misinformation coming out of the deep state. So
okay, wait, hold on.
Years,
okay, I understand what you're saying. Okay, hold on. Let's back up a second. It's okay. I'm just curious what you do. Okay, just one simple thing at a time. Okay, one very, very small thing at a time.
Yes, you can know things that you don't observe.
Okay. In the United States of America, individual citizens don't
remember this. Destiny says one thing at a time, and now he's gonna try and stay on one thing, but then he's gonna keep going to different things and moving the goalpost more and more and more based on what she's saying. And then he's gonna be well, we need to stay on one thing. We can't just keep moving. But Destiny's the one that's doing the whole moving. But then I think at the end of it, he psychologically makes it seem that she's the one that's jumping around when he's the one that's actually doing it. So just pay attention to each point that Destiny brings up, and then he's gonna be oh, actually, we need to stay on one point.
actually have a right to vote for the president. The states have rights to vote, right? So when you go and you cast your ballot at a state, in a state federal election, the state decides how to run those elections. Most states right now, or every state has said that, okay, well, whoever wins the majority of the votes in our state, we're going to tell our electors to cast that vote for president, with the exception of Maine and Nebraska that kind of divvied up based on percentages, right? So I vote in a state, I'm in Michigan, 52% of us vote for a candidate. We're actually voting for their electors. Those electors will fill out their ballots, and then, on 2020, it was December 14th, they fill them out, the governor signs it, and they say, okay, we're going to send these to Congress to be counted on January 6th, right? We agree this is the process?
Yep.
Okay. So when Donald Trump, has his campaign, not his campaign actually, because most of them wouldn't even go along with it,
All right,
and he has his personal friends.
Let me just test this auto thing. Is it working? Yes. Yes, it is. Perfect. It is working. Nice. I don't have to do anything now.
People like Giuliani or Powell go out, or Mark Meadows, go out and solicit 79 other people to write down that they are the electors and that they were actually chosen by the state, and then to send in 7 different slates from all of the
Destiny's talking about the legal theory that they were trying to do for the election in 2020 for on Trump's side. Like, that was the legal theory that they were going off of. That's what he's explaining. But he's going to make it seem like this is some nefarious thing that that it was bad faith 100%. And if anyone else who doubts that is probably just a Trumple or whatever he wants to call it.
Democrat won states to send in 7 Republican ones to the Capitol and say, you should count us instead on January 6th. How is that anything but, like, that's not like a good faith legal challenge. That's not like he just had a that's like a trying to steal an election, right?
Look at him. He's saying, right? Like, right? Isn't that like stealing the election? Yeah, right? Right, guys? Right? Like, he doesn't even know. It has to be bad faith, right? Like, you're in my worldview, right? You believe what I believe, right? You believe my opinions, right? My interpretation of the whole situation. Yeah, right? Come on now. We believe it, right? You guys believe it? You don't? Oh, what? That you're delusional. You don't? You're delusional. You don't know the facts. My interpretation of the facts is true, but yours is not. This is important. Like, this is everything, right? Oh man, just making fun of him at this point.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of this hangs on what Donald Trump knew and what he didn't know, at what level he was involved, at what level he wasn't involved. I think a lot of this is being litigated through the courts, right? So some of these things were legal, some of these things were not. And
wait. Sorry, I'm going to be in a really specific thing. So first of all, none of it is being litigated yet. Donald Trump has said that he needs criminal immunity for all of it. That's his defense. He's saying, I can't possibly commit crimes as president. That's it. So none of it is being denied. None of the deposition.
Well, that is technically being litigated, but through the courts. And if the courts think that this is something we shouldn't even if this is something that was is his official power, then yes, then true. If it's within his official power, then yes, it was like this absolves him. This is I don't see how it's not being litigated. It is literally being litigated through the courts. You just don't like the way that it's being litigated. So you're like, oh no, it's not actually being litigated through the courts. Like, it is. Like, you literally just said that he has first he says no, that didn't happen. And then he goes on explaining on why that thing is actually happening, but it's not actually happening. Like, what? Why would you say that he has a defense if he's not in the courts, but if it's not being litigated through the courts? Like, that makes no sense. He literally contradicted himself like the next sentence. He's like, no, it's not happening, but Trump is actually doing something through the courts that's with his defense. And I'm like, wait, come on now. Like, that was just a dumb moment on his part.
Immunity for things he did as an officer of what's the exact language?
He's seeking criminal immunity for the 4 years that he was president. He might say that it was
for official acts.
President has nothing to do with sending false slates of electors to people. It has absolutely nothing to do with being the president.
Wait, how do you know that it's not like that? How do you know that it's not an official act? Like, didn't the courts rule that it was? Why are you going to say that it's not? Come on now, Destiny.
And then that was Giuliani.
That worked under his direction, and Giuliani is his personal lawyer. Yeah.
I mean, that's sort of under dispute?
What's under dispute?
The degree to which Donald Trump was involved in these efforts.
No, that's why the people are
well, he thought he had won the election, and his decision, having been convinced.
Good. I don't know why she was running down that logic. She switched. She was running down a place that I was like, no, people know that, people already know how much Trump was involved. The whole point is that they don't know, they can't say that Trump was for sure doing this in bad faith. Like, Destiny thinks that it's 100% true that Trump was doing it in bad faith. And I'm like, bro, really? Are you sure about that? Like, where's
Abby
the quote?
Anders. Hey.
Hey, what? Literally. Okay, hi. How's up? What's up? What's up? I'm gonna keep playing this.
That he had won the election, and having never said anything to suggest that he thinks anything other than that, was that he was going to
steal the election. He was going to do a coup.
Avail himself of every legal avenue.
But that's not legal. It's illegal.
That he had. Well, that's being litigated by the court.
Yes, true. It's being litigated by the court. Stop saying it's illegal. He's lying.
That's right. I mean,
no, he's saying I need criminal immunity for all of this. That's their defense.
That's a separate. That was a separate.
And but still, that's litigation through the courts. He's defending himself, and he won apparently, and that's what the Supreme Court ruled. So, like, yes, true. Like they basically deemed all those things as official acts, and Destiny doesn't like that answer. So he's like, he just keeps continuing his false reality. Like, it's true. Like, what the Supreme Court ruled on that, and Destiny heavily disagrees with the Supreme Court. Yes, because I can't words right now.
That was a separate court case.
No,
there's a whole fraud case going on. There's a fraud case going on, which hangs precisely on. It is fraud to the extent that Donald Trump thinks he lost and still tried to pursue these legal avenues. And it is not fraud to the extent that he thinks he won, which is, of course, why he very cleverly has never admitted that he lost. Now, again, I'm not,
What the heck? My thing froze.
I'm not defending this behavior.
You are defending it, though, by saying that, it's a legitimate way to...
I'm saying it's not. I'm saying that availing yourself of every legal avenue to prove that you won an election is not disqualifying.
Wait, just having a neutral stance on something isn't defending that. Like, Destiny, doesn't he understand that having a defense, like defending something, being neutral in something, and then attacking something, those are three different things. Just because she's not attacking and framing it the way that you like to frame it, Destiny, it doesn't mean that she's automatically defending the opposite. Like, she's being neutral. She's just saying what's actually going on. Bro.
It's not legal. They lied. They told 79 different people to lie and say they were the electors. That's not a legal avenue. It's just a lie. They weren't the electors, right?
No, that wasn't a lie. It was a legal theory that they were putting into, like, they were like testing out. Like, that's not lying. A legal theory is not lying. So there's some more disinformation that Destiny likes to throw out.
Rudy Giuliani lied.
No, I'm saying that the Trump group, everybody attests that Rudy and Trump were both in the same conversations where in the Trump campaign, when Trump decided to pursue the strategy, that's what all of the deposition, all the testimony, all the people involved have said, who aren't part of Trump's criminal conspiracy, have all said, yeah, Trump and Giuliani. And remember, Giuliani...
This is why I think this is not necessarily worth arguing, because you are convinced that Trump is convinced that he lost. And
yes, of course.
I'm convinced that Trump is convinced that he won.
Yeah, but you have no evidence.
True. What do you mean she has no evidence? Well, she's gonna point it out.
For that, and there's so much evidence on the other side.
Well, I feel there's a lot of evidence for it. Namely, he's never once admitted that he lost.
Wait. So there's no way to know if a person is lying if they just don't tell you they're lying?
He seems to.
He's... That's... See, look, he... Bro. Okay. Destiny's so convinced that Trump is just lying. And she's like, no, I'm not convinced that he's lying. But then she... this is such a garbage argument.
To me, to be very convinced about it in the way that he's lying. Yeah, you're saying, how can you tell if somebody is lying?
Yeah.
How do we usually tell? How would you know if I was lying? You would judge my affect. You would judge my consistency. You would judge the tone of my voice. You would judge my body language, right? You would
No. I would judge the actions you take. I would look at the actions.
Yes, you would and the actions of Trump is that he was trying to go through a legal theory. Like, he truly believed that he won. So he went through all these legal avenues to actually, like, try and figure out if he won or not. This specifically talking about 2020, not 2024. But yeah. Yes, true. Don't say like everything that she just said is true, and the actions. So, like, I don't understand why he thinks that Trump's actions shows that he's lying. Like, no, Trump's actions shows that he really truly believed what he actually did. That's why he went so far into finding out a legal theory in the first place. Like, come on now.
Action. So if you were to do legitimate challenges in a courtroom and you were to have what you believe to be is very solid and strong evidence, and you were ardently pursuing what you thought was the right answer, then I'd say, oh, okay. I mean, they have a lot of conviction. But if you were filing bullshit court cases, a lot of them without even standing, asking for insane remedies in civil cases,
what is your
conspiracies to try to...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What are you... wait, what did he just say?
But if you were filing bullshit court cases, a lot of them...
Oh, yeah. How do you know that it's bullshit court cases? How do you know, Destiny? What's your dirt... Like... If it was BS court cases, then why did the Supreme Court ruled on it in his favor that he has immunity now? If it was BS, then why would the court do that? Well, he probably would be like, well, because the courts is they're trying to they're like Trump. They like Trump, so that's why they voted to put Trump to have Trump be immune. And I'm like, really? Like I thought the court wasn't like influenced by the by anyone else, but like being in the court. Like there's no reason for them to help Trump. Like just because like say if they didn't give him the immunity ruling, nothing happens to the courts. Like they gain nothing by I guess helping Trump, as he would frame it. But yeah, let's just continue.
And without even standing, asking for insane remedies in civil cases, engaged in multiple criminal conspiracies to try to overturn an election, and then asking another guy, Pence, to just unilaterally overthrow it for you, which Pence has come out and said that he has been asked to do.
This is a part of the legal theory. He's just explaining it in such a way that it sounds like it's like this evil scheme, but it literally was a legal theory that they were testing out, and it didn't really, I guess, pan out.
He had been asked to do, I would say, oh, it sounds like you don't think you want. It sounds like you're just trying to stay in power, right? Like, what could Trump possibly have done in your mind?
I mean, I look at him like he thinks he won and he thinks it was stolen from him, just like Hillary Clinton thinks she won in 2016 and thinks it was stolen from her.
But Hillary never said that. Hillary never engaged in any criminal conspiracy.
Well, she did. She did. She did. Fiona Wilson, thanks for the follow.
She never said she thought she won.
I agree with you that she behaved better.
I swear, if you ask for
Fiona Wilson too. Hey.
Hey, hi. What's up? Don't ask me for any art stuff.
Fiona Wilson too.
I am not.
Fiona back.
I'm not up for that. No art talk, please. I want to continue. I want to finish this video. This is part 2.
No,
we got an hour and 55 minutes.
It's not the same.
She called Trump an illegitimate president who would not have won without irregularities.
He wouldn't have won without irregularities. That's absolutely true, right? Without Putin's intervention, without the Kremlin's intervention, without the DNC leaks in the Wait, what part of that is not true?
Oh, I just think that election didn't fail, and I don't engage in that.
Hold on.
True. Bro, the reason why this is so hypocritical. Oh my God. The reason why this is so hypocritical is that this guy, this Destiny dude, this Destiny guy, he's like an avowed, like he keeps destroying people, like all the I guess conservatives on whenever they would talk about the 2020 election and how like they're so completely wrong, and if they live in delusional by believing that the 2020 election was stolen or something. And I'm like, but now he's gonna like just say, hey, the 2016 one, yeah, that's obviously true. What Hillary said, it was true. Like, but you're basically just like I guess he doesn't even have a principle against like rejecting or saying that he could have lost the 2016 election. Like, I guess it's just rich coming from this guy. It's kind of hypocritical because like he'll debate and destroy people on the and call them like delusional for believing the 2020 thing. But when people question the 2016 one, well, it's a different story. Well, it actually, Hillary might have had a point. Like, come on now. Like, where was this like good faith response or charitable response for the people of 2020 but then you're going to say like 2016, maybe there's some validity there. I'm like, okay, all right, Destiny.
Wait, do you think that the leaking of the hacked material from the DNC had absolutely zero impact on the election? It was a very close election.
No one ever said that. You're debating nobody.
Yeah, I think people felt really strongly that they wanted Donald Trump to be president. Yeah.
Wait. So you don't, but you think that the Hunter Biden laptop story.
Here's the difference. No, I don't think that changed the outcome of the election. Here's the difference.
Bro, like he's so like Twitter brain rotted for what he thinks people think, for what his general take. Like she hasn't said anything about this. He keeps assuming that she believes these things. And then she says, "No, I don't believe that." And then she's like, "No, I don't believe that." Like, why do you keep assuming things? Come on, Destiny. Why do you keep assuming these I'm trying so hard not to swear.
Abby Anders. This guy, man.
Yeah, literally, this guy. Come on now.
Between us, like, you're very smart, and so you think most people are much dumber than you, which is probably true. And I am not very smart, and so I think I'm like everybody else. And so it doesn't occur to me that somebody would be fooled by a social media post that I would never be fooled by. Like, I just can't imagine that.
You're aware that like a quarter of conservatives, a quarter of Republicans believe that there's a high level satanic pedophile sex cult in the Democratic Party. A quarter of conservatives believe that. You know that like Marjorie Taylor Greene is a QAnon.
Bro, this guy lives in like this guy is in another planet. Like, what? A quarter of them? Bro, what?
She believed in the Hawaiian Jewish space lasers. Like,
I mean,
do you acknowledge either of those things are true? That a quarter of conservatives.
I admire Marjorie Taylor Greene a lot.
What is this guy even talking about?
Do you acknowledge that Marjorie Taylor Greene was a QAnoner?
She has said that she used to believe some very sketchy things and no longer believes them. Yeah, I think that's true.
So she used to be a QAnoner, right? That believed in satanic sex cults.
Well, here's the thing.
You won't even acknowledge this. This is the issue, right? So there is no second or third order conversation. We don't live in the same factual world.
What do you mean? She acknowledged it like 3 different times. Like, just because she doesn't say yes and move on, like that's the only like she said, she responded to you like 3 times.
Do you acknowledge that Marjorie Taylor Greene was a QAnoner?
She has said that she used to believe some very sketchy things and no longer believes them. Yeah, I think.
Look at that. Acknowledged right there, bro. Acknowledged right there.
That's true.
So she used to be a QAnoner, right?
Ask the same question again as if she didn't answer the question. What?
Believed in satanic sex cults.
Well, here's the thing.
You won't even acknowledge this. This is the issue, right? So there is no second or third order conversation.
What do you mean? Okay, all right. Like, this guy, he's delusional. He's actually delusional. Like, just because she doesn't respond in the way that he wants her to respond, she's like, oh, you know what? She's not even like responding to anything. So therefore, it's just that didn't happen. It didn't happen. Like, she's just dodging the question, apparently. Like, what?
Dude, we don't live in the same factual world. This is the whole issue that I'm having.
Okay, so I hope you're not feeling gaslighted. Please tell me if I'm not trying to not answer your question. I'm just trying to suggest like a different gloss on it, which is.
And she's being such good faith. Like, come on now. Why are you acting so like retarded? Like retarded, honestly.
Yeah, QAnon is insane, right? There's people who believe that, right?
Like Marjorie Taylor Greene did, and probably still does.
Did and no longer does. Says she no longer does.
True.
It turns out that there was an actual pedophile who was photographed and had very close relationships with a lot of people very high up in the Democratic Party, right?
Who? Epstein?
Yes.
Notice, why is the other side so silent on Donald Trump's appearance in pictures with Epstein?
And Donald Trump was in pictures with him. I'm not saying that this is a justification.
Oh my God. And she literally just acknowledges it right there. There we go. Perfect. What, is that not good enough for him, I guess?
For QAnon, which I think is also probably anti-Semitic in some ways. But what I am saying is that like a lot of the time, like they are onto something and they go too far. But what we've done in like, especially in elite leftist discourse, is epic levels of gaslighting to make people feel insane for pointing out things that are real. And
wait. Okay, wait.
It's funny because this lady is actually like a girl that's on the left. Like she's not conservative whatsoever. But the only thing that Destiny thinks is what makes someone a conservative is if they're gonna vote Trump. And since she's like on the fence of like voting Trump, Destiny's like, yeah, you're basically a conservative. You're basically a conservative. You are. You have to be Republican. Like, true. I'm like, bro. She literally talks about herself like in the we, in the sense of we. Like, we're together. We're on the same side. Come on, man. But Destiny is like already being super. What's the word? Like he's acting as if she's like on another planet. Like she doesn't exist in his worldview. And I'm like, the standards that Destiny has, like, there's a reason why no one, even people on the left, like, don't like him. Like, there's a reason why he's backed into a corner and kind of by himself with his little orbiters that chat with him sometimes. But there's a reason why he's not like in the mainstream media. Like, people don't what do you call it? Actually, not. Let's just keep going.
Wait, no, we're not. We're way divorced from the policy right now. What would it take for you to convince you that Donald Trump knew that he lost the election?
What would it take to convince you that he didn't?
What would it take to convince me that I already said, like, if he was filing legitimate court cases with some kind of evidence and strong like claims,
legitimate court cases. What's your definition of what a legitimate court case is? Like, you're literally asking, oh, what would it take? A subjective take on what I think is a legitimate court case. And I'm like, how am I ever supposed to prove something that is be legitimate to you? Like, he's basically giving an answer that is impossible, because like what she thinks is a legitimate court case is completely different to what he thinks is a legitimate court case. So like his standards are just it's goalposty. It's garbage. Like when you think you have a good point on him, he's gonna like, well, actually, subjectively, I don't really feel that way, so I'm gonna use a word that's like that could be used very loosely and and say that you're wrong because it doesn't fit in this general loose word that I just came up with. Like, come on now. Like your standards are like impossible to go to. Oh, I know exactly how it's supposed to work, and I'm like, You just gave me a subjective response as if I'm supposed to know how
Where's
you're
Neri?
supposed to feel.
I'm glad you watch him. I couldn't.
Yeah.
Trump knew that he lost the election.
What would it take to convince you that he didn't?
What would it take to convince me that I already said, like if he was filing legitimate court cases with some kind of evidence and strong like claims,
He did legitimately, in my opinion, he did legitimately file court cases and with some evidence. He did have some evidence, but I guess it just didn't reach to the threshold of like standing or whatever. And then they just threw out, like, they had a bunch of evidence, but since Trump didn't have standing, like a ton of them just got thrown out without even looking at the evidence. Like, oh, there's no standing, so even though you have all these papers here, we're not going to look at them. Like, that's what happened.
If he hadn't engaged in behavior a year beforehand, saying that it was rigged, that it was going to be rigged before it even happened, if he hadn't denied
So what? Like, wait, you're saying this is evidence against him believing that it was rigged in the first place? Wait, hold up. So a year in advance, Trump already knew that he was going to lose the election, and therefore he that's why he started talking about how it's going to be rigged a year in advance. So Trump can see into the future, and that's why he decided to do that, and that's why you think he's lying. That is such a stretch. That is such a stretch. If anything, him talking about that in the past, like a year in the past, is just even more credible evidence to like he thinks that it's going to be stolen. So therefore, like he believed that. If he just randomly all of a sudden just started saying it after the election, then maybe we'd be like, okay, yeah, he's just being a sore loser. He's kind of lying there. Like, but he started a year in advance. Like, wait, what? Like, that's supposed to be evidence to the contrary? No.
he denied the 2016 election results, by the way, that he won. He put together a commission to find voter fraud. They found none. They disbanded it.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, like this is insane. So
I could imagine him saying something, either saying I did lose it, but now I'm back, right?
Wait. So he has to. So this is. Hold on. Wait. Just another quick sanity check. For the criminal court system in the United States of America, we ascertain people's states of mind without confessions, right? Like you can convict somebody on first-degree murder or any kind of criminal like charge that requires a mens rea, a criminal mind, right? We can convict these without having mind readers in the courtroom, right? So we
notice how he's comparing like what's going on in the court case for like doing law and whether Trump is lying or not. Like for enacting a legal theory of whether he's doing something in bad faith or not.
Christabel 5.
To a guy.
Hey, I'm loving your streams and would love to connect on Discord. My username is Quium0947.
Yeah, that's great. What made me lose my train of thought? Thanks for the follow, though. I appreciate it. But like, bro,
we can figure out people's states of mind.
Did lose it, but now I'm back, right?
Wait. So he has to. So this is. Hold on. Wait. Just another quick sanity check. For the criminal court system in the United States.
Oh
of America,
yeah, that's what I was saying. So basically, he's comparing like murder, basically whether we figure out if someone murdered someone versus manslaughter, and he's comparing that to basically whether Trump was in bad faith putting out a legal theory during 2020. Like, come on now, this analogy doesn't work. And he's like, "Oh, let's do a standing test."
Neri?
I'm like, "Bro,
They said the hush money case verdict was suspended indefinitely.
Yeah, because of the hush money case was basically it was suspended because of the Supreme Court ruling saying that Trump was immune, basically, or all presidents is immune to criminal prosecution unless they were impeached first. And Trump was impeached.
Where's Neri? Nice.
Trump was impeached. And he was impeached twice, and then I think it only went to the Senate once, because the first time he got impeached, then when they tried to vote to go into the Senate, it failed. Or no, how was it? He got attempted an impeachment, but they didn't get enough votes to actually impeach him. And then the second time he actually did get impeached, and they went to the Senate, but then when they did the prosecution in the Senate, like this is like after the whole January 6th thing, it was like January 24th or 25th
Where's
or whatever.
Neri? You need 2/3 of the votes.
2/3 of the votes. Okay, yeah. So he got 2/3 of the votes after the second time, but not the first time. Yeah. I think the first time they only initiated the impeachment, but never got 2/3 of the votes. Or am I thinking of something slightly different? Let's just keep going.
We ascertain people's states of mind without confessions, right? Like you can convict somebody on first-degree murder or any kind of criminal.
Oh,
Where's
but
Neri?
like,
Oh, I thought they both failed.
Well, they did. The first one failed like before even getting the votes to impeach. The second one, actually, they did get enough votes to impeach, but when they went to the trial to actually see what his crime was, they all voted that he didn't actually do any crime. He didn't do a crime. Like because like once you get impeached, you go to trial. And then after that trial, they get up all the evidence to like figure out what they need to do to actually.
Oh, cheers. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. No need to be sorry. No need to be sorry. Questions are great. There's no such thing as a bad question or not knowing something. Like, yeah, no need to be sorry. Actually, you should be sorry for even saying sorry. So yeah, say sorry.
Charge that requires a mens rea criminal mind, right? We can convict these without having mind readers in the courtroom, right? So we can figure out people's states of mind, right?
Yeah, but I'm saying I have spent a lot of time considering this question. I mean, I'm not a spokesperson for the campaign or anything. Like, I had to decide who.
But then I'm asking, so what would you have to see from Trump to be convinced that he knew that he lost the election?
I just feel like every time he talks about it, he seems to me like a person who is deeply, deeply convinced that he won.
Yeah, but what would you have to see to think that, like, oh, okay, he probably.
He could. I could even right now. I could picture him saying something in a kind of like wink and.
What do you mean? Well, okay, all right. She's explaining it.
You know, kind of like I could picture the kind of affect that I would expect from him if I thought he was lying about it.
So you would have to see him basically confess to it, or basically say something.
I'd have to see him say it in a way that I felt less convinced by. I mean, obviously, this is how we always judge whether somebody's lying. Or
no,
not.
it's absolutely not. To be clear, we judge generally by people's actions, right? To see if we think they're not if they're really convincing in the way they speak to us, right?
I don't think him having like a lunatic team trying to do what he thought was the right thing is evidence that he was lying.
Wait, he didn't.
True.
He went and personally got that lunatic team, right?
Who cares?
Ha-ha.
Who cares? Like, wait, what? He just said
thought was the right thing is evidence that he was lying.
Wait, he didn't. But he went and personally got that lunatic team, right?
Who cares if he personally got the lunatic team? Like, what? How is that like evidence to the contrary? Like, doesn't every single person like that seeking out legal, like anything legal, a legal defense, they seek out like a team or some lawyer to find if they could like win this defense case or not? Like, bro, what? Everyone does this. Oh, but this guy, he was president and he should be doing this as president. I'm like, bro, what? What do you mean? Who cares? This is such a tiny little point. I'm like, okay, whatever. I guess in Destiny's world, this is such a big thing. It's such a massive thing that he personally found some people. Like, bro, you say it in such a, like, the way he frames these things is just, it's so stupid.
Right? Wait. Do you acknowledge
Rudy Giuliani's the best? I don't think that.
Do you acknowledge that Donald Trump went and personally recruited Giuliani, Sidney Powell, and Eastman? These weren't White House lawyers.
And
yeah, of course he did.
So we can't say that he just has a lunatic team. These were his representatives, right? These were the people that he personally hired.
He thought would,
the reason why she said lunatic team is because this idiot said it was a lunatic team. So she was literally mimicking what he was saying, and now he's like, well, actually, we can't just say it's just a lunatic team. He personally got this team. And I'm like, bro, like, come on, who are you debating right now? He's literally debating himself because she's just repeating what he said. Like, she doesn't care too much about the framing. Like, she kind of agrees with him, but like, there's such a tiny little point. He's so wrapped up in his own little bubble. Like, it's
find the evidence.
It's annoying,
which he believed was true.
But none of the people that were tasked with investigating, all of those people told him that it was false. Barr did. Everybody in the White House did. Yeah. Raffensperger and all the states did. Yeah. Everybody tasked with investigating. Federal investigators.
Oh, but what about Eastman? Eastman said that, wasn't there like a legal theory that came through? Like, Eastman was like, yeah, this is actually this could be a path through. And he's a lawyer, isn't he? Oh, everyone else, but everyone was saying he was wrong. And I'm like, bro, there's a lot of people that say that a lot of people are wrong. Just because you have a ton of people saying that you're wrong doesn't necessarily make it that you like, that's a logical fallacy.
I wouldn't believe I lost to someone that hid in a basement either.
True. Come on now.
There's people like BJ Pak, federal judges, like everybody said that it was bullshit.
Yeah, but like, you have to understand like what it's like to be Donald Trump. I think there was a really good example of this last week when he did an interview with the editor-in-chief of Bloomberg News, and he sat there and the guy just sat there and said to him like again and again, like, every economist thinks that this thing that you're proposing will be bad, and Donald Trump was like, yeah, but it really worked really well in the 4 years I was president.
Yeah, but it didn't work. That's a lie. That's a lie, and all the economists do agree that large tariffs are bad, right?
I totally disagree with that. I think there's a ton of evidence. We can go through the evidence on tariffs. I'd love to get back to policy and talk about tariffs with you. I think he's totally right, but his entire presidency was.
He is right, by the way, but Destiny just doesn't know the information. He's ignorant on this, but he's so Trump bad, like brained, that he automatically just assumes that Trump, I think he did look into it, but she actually brings up some good points about like what's going on, and Destiny just assumes that it's just bad because nothing happened. Like, and I don't even think he even knows what she even brings up. So like he probably looked into it and then heard the general synapses of like, oh, actually, it's like a ton of people said that it was wrong, so it must be wrong, right? Because every single, like, a lot of economists said that Trump was wrong, so I guess Trump is wrong without actually looking into any of the details. Even though he's the type of guy that's like, oh, we should go to the details, but then he just takes the word of like other people without actually looking into it. But he hates Trump so much that he's just going to be like, well, you know what? It kind of sounds right. So, yeah, Trump
Where's
is bad.
Read it on Wiki.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically his whole Israel Palestine thing, like the Wikipedia warrior. Like, whenever people criticize Destiny's Israel takes, like, oh, he's just a Wikipedia warrior. And I'm like, I mean, he just
Where's Neri? Haha.
he just read a bunch of he literally just read a bunch of like history Wikipedia articles. But yeah,
implementing
we're not going to talk about Israel Palestine right now.
Policies that helped average working class Americans, and being told that he was either racist for doing it or stupid.
No,
or
he was being told that he was being racist
it.
because he was saying things like a Mexican judge, a person of whose parents were Mexican, couldn't sit as a judge on a case of his because he thought he would be biased, or because he was what?
That was for the election, but that was racist.
Well, then you'd admit. So he's taken actions, right?
There's been mass gaslighting around issues like immigration to average people on both sides of the political aisle who had to just sit there and take it for years because both parties were sort of hand in glove on this neoliberal economic agenda. We were going to have free trade, and we're going to have like mass immigration. We're going to have no tariffs.
But we don't care. We don't care. Like, I'm just imagining what Destiny was thinking right now. Destiny's like, we don't care about all that. But when Trump said that racist thing, that's a big thing, right? You even admit it, right? But what the working class people think about the immigration problem, we'll just that's not a problem. When Trump says that thing about the Hispanic person, though, that's levels beyond the border issue right now. I'm like, bro, your priorities are completely busted, Destiny.
Why was Obama called the deporter in chief? Like, Barack Obama was known as being incredibly harsh on immigration. Under Obama's administration, for the first time ever, we saw a net decrease.
He was more harsh than Ronald Reagan, that's for sure, because he gave amnesty to 3 million immigrants.
Sure, Reagan was a long time ago.
Reagan
was a long time ago. I'm just saying that the gaslighting he's having right now, Obama was not easy on immigrants, right?
He was less easy on immigrants than Bill Clinton was, but he was mostly deporting criminals. I mean, look, you're right. I don't want to, you're totally right about that.
And if you want to talk policy for a policy thing, right? And this is why I know that conservatives don't vote on policy and they don't care about illegal immigrants. I don't think it even affects the country that much, or at least people don't think it does. Because if they did think that, why would they all cheer when Donald Trump?
Oh yeah, he's going to talk about, Trump destroyed a bill, even though he wasn't even in Congress or anything. Like, bro, like if Trump has all this power and not even the president or in any place politically, then why does he need to like run for office if apparently like he already has all this power to like change policy and stuff like that? Like if Trump has all this power to change policy, why does he need to run for office to gain more power? Like, come on now. Like that was one of Destiny's other arguments. I don't think he's gonna bring it up in this one, but he would say that, Trump, the only reason Trump's running is because he wants more power. Like that's the only reason why he kept on trying. Did the whole 2020 thing with the Eastman memo, or legal theory, as I like to call it, because that's literally what they call it. So I'm not going to frame it in the most negative way possible, like Destiny likes to do, just to make it seem like it's some evil scheme or whatever. But yeah,
Trump annihilated the immigration bill in Congress.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Republicans decided to pull the plug on the immigration bill, on the border bill in Congress, because Donald Trump told them to keep the border open for an election issue. Why wouldn't everybody be mad if this was such a huge deal in the United States?
Because that immigration bill...
Bro, that immigration bill could have been passed 2 years ago. No, 3 to 4 years ago. Like, come on now. Like, the only reason that bill is being passed, like, at the time that it was being passed, like, a couple months ago, is because they want to seem like, oh, look, we had these issues all this time, but now we're going to address these issues like 2 years later, with like 2 to 3 years deep into Biden's presidency, which shows how much of a priority it is. Like, bro, like you're going to complain about like, Trump told them not to do the thing so we can run on it. I'm like, bro, if the bill passed like a year and a half ago, there would be nothing to run on. But apparently now they decide to do something. Like it's like he brings this up as like a point against Trump. And I'm like,
Yeah, for real.
And I'm like, everyone plays politics, man. Everyone plays politics. Like, you're going to point out Trump, but like, Biden should have done something about this a long time ago, not wait 6 months before the election to actually do something. No, Congress, not Biden. Well, whatever. Like, the government decided to do something about it 6 months before the election of 2024. Like, this is the reason why Trump won. Come on now. Like,
set the bar for closing the border at 5,000 illegal immigrants a day.
Right now, the bar is unlimited.
Bill.
It did more than that. The bar right now is
not true, because then Biden took executive action 3 months later, and he set the bar at 2,000. So just by defeating the bill, the bar was then lowered by 3,000.
And look, Destin doesn't even know this. He doesn't even know this. Look how baffled he is. He had a counterpoint so ready. And then she literally says, well, actually, Biden did just push an executive order thing that since it didn't pass, to like restrict it as well. And Destiny's like, how did I not know about this information? Like, look at his face. He's so like dumbfounded.
1,000 illegal immigrants a day. You can't with a straight face say that people aren't experiencing what's going on.
I know for a fact they're not. I know they're not.
When you go into the inner city in any major city in America, talk to Black people. They are pissed about this because this is and has always come at their expense.
If you go, then why do all the major cities vote blue? They're all blue.
You're going to wait and see what happens.
The major cities are just, it's liberal. Why are the major cities all blue? Like, yeah, why are they all blue? Because there's a ton of reasons. There's a ton of reasons. Obviously, that's not the only reason. Like, it's a good point for this specific issue, but like, there's why do all these blue cities have all these homeless people? Oh, it's because they're blue cities. Like, come on now. Like, are you really gonna accept that type of answer? Or that type of like logic trail, I guess. Let's just call it that. Yeah.
The level at which Black Americans are going to be voting for Donald Trump is going to be pretty high and staggering. And a lot of it has to do with the gaslighting around immigration, the sort of stolen valor from the civil rights movement, to where you're suddenly asking people who have been at the bottom of the pecking order in this country since its inception to bear the burden of giving other people the American dream that they were never granted. I mean, this is something people will tell you if you ask them about it. It's so obvious. If you bring in 10 million people and 8 million of them are going to be working in 5 industries, the wages in those industries are going to absolutely plummet.
But that hasn't happened. That doesn't happen.
Absolutely has happened. And it's happened over the last
which industries have these seen it in? No, we haven't. This is not true. We have not. We have not.
This is, if you look at where there was amazing wage growth in 2019, then you had the post-pandemic labor crunch, immense wage growth for working class people because you had a whole bunch of people drop out of the labor force and they were getting great wages, and then suddenly inflation was up and Biden decided to decriminalize illegal border crossing, and that wage growth halted in its tracks.
I'm pretty sure real wages right now are higher than they were at the end of 2019. Like, we've gotten higher than where we were on Q4, like post-COVID. Like, but the whole economy was booming when Trump came into office. Like after the Obama recovery, for all of Obama's last.
Here's the thing: you can't talk about the economy in the aggregate because there are different sectors of it. Okay, so for example, right now, during the pandemic, right after the pandemic, if you owned property, if you had stocks, like now, right, last year, the year before, not during the pandemic, but you saw huge growth because. Look at what's going on in the real estate market. I mean, look at the interest rates, right? So if you own property right now, it's probably worth like a quarter more what it was.
Don't most people in the United States live in homes that are owned? Isn't like 70% of Americans in homes that are owned by the person living in them?
60% of Americans are homeowners. But you have to look at the breakdown there. A lot of those people are retired, and a lot of those people are people who are in the top 20%. And you have a lot of Americans who are working class, who work really hard, and who will never be able to own a home.
Wait, top 20% and retired of what?
What do you mean?
What are they in the top 20% about?
The top 20% in America controls over 50% of the GDP.
Are we talking wealth? Are we talking like income? Because if they're old, of course they're going to be in the top 20%. They're older. They have more time to accumulate wealth, right?
Yeah.
So
but they're not. Seniors are not 20% of the country, right?
Well, no, 60% of the country are homeowners. So it's more than just old, rich seniors buying homes, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But there's a lot of people who want to be homeowners. There's a lot of people who would love to own property, who are stuck in the renter's market and will never be able to afford to own a home. There are people who are really struggling, who are struggling to pay rent, who are working 2-3 jobs and just cannot make it at the end of the month, and the inflation is absolutely killing them. And all they want is to go back to the economy from 2019, and because they want that, they're told that they don't believe in democracy.
Well, they don't believe in democracy because of Trump trying to steal the election.
Racist. They're told about this.
You already admitted that Trump said and has done things that are racist. But
well, I admitted that saying that the judge could not be objective because he was Mexican.
Why does he keep? I don't get why he keeps doing that. It's like he's purposely like ignoring what she's saying. Like, she's saying that the people are being called this. Like, she's not defending Trump. She's defending the people that want to support or vote for Trump. And then he's like, she'll bring up a point, and then he's like, well, Trump actually did say that. So why shouldn't we call them racist for like supporting a guy that said that. Like, come on now. Like, that's his, like, I don't think that's what he's saying, but like, that's how it sounds to me, honestly. Like, if I'm going to give a good faith interpretation, I don't think he's actually saying that, but he doesn't give good faith interpretations of Trump at all. It's only bad faith. And then his argument is saying like, well, they always do bad faith, so why should I be good faith to them? And I'm like, okay, all right. Well, if that's your argument for every single thing, that for all the reasons for why you're always giving like a bad faith framing about Trump, then like why should anyone ever give you a good faith like argument? Like, so no, I'm not going to be charitable for him, and I'm going to stick with for the rest, I guess, for the rest of the stream, I'm just not going to be charitable at all. So yeah.
Mexican is a racist thing to say. It's obvious.
Sure, that was one of many things he's questionably said and done, but
I think it was really racist when Joe Biden said, if you don't vote for him, you're not black. I mean, that's pretty racist too.
Wait.
True. Bro. Okay, let's listen to his logic trail down here. He's going to be like, oh, well, isn't one like worse? Isn't one like worse? Come on now. Isn't one worse than the other? And I'm like, bro, that's not the point. Like, who cares what you think is worse or not? Like, that's your subjective feeling of what you think is worse. Like, no one's going to agree that what you think is worse is actually worse. Like, she obviously thinks that that's bad. And I also think that's bad. And I think they're both on par. Just because you think one is a little bit worse than the other isn't proving anything. But like...
Do you think that those two things are on the same level?
I think they're both racist.
I didn't ask that. Do you think those things are on the same level?
Yes.
I think Joe Biden was probably like kind of saying it half jokingly, so it's not as bad.
I don't like how she doesn't...
I
don't like how she doesn't double down. Like, yes, they're on the same level. And he asked the same question 3 different times because he's kind of autistic.
Like when Joe Biden made that comment, Joe Biden was, if you listen to the statement, I was trying to say like, if you don't support the black community, you don't support me. If you don't vote for me, you don't support the black community, right? And it came out, if you don't support me, you aren't black. But he wasn't.
Your interpretation, just because you interpret that way, it doesn't make it any less racist. Come on now. You want to give a good faith interpretation to Joe Biden on why he said, oh, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. Like, you're going to give a good faith interpretation saying like, oh, actually, he didn't really mean it in such a negative way. Like, no, it was racist. My interpretation is different from yours. I didn't think that. I actually thought he meant that. Like, bro, what are you going to say? I disagree with your interpretation. Like, okay, I disagree with yours. Have a nice day. Like, what?
That wasn't what he was trying to say, right? When Donald Trump...
No, that is what he was obviously trying to say. Like, get out of here.
Trump said, this guy can't be my judge. He said that his brain was Hispanic poison because his parents are Mexican. And because Trump is there in Mexico...
A charity for your guy, not for everyone else.
Exactly. Like, bro, like... It's so easy to see through this guy.
A federal judge wouldn't be able to see those cases. You acknowledge those two statements are not even in the same universe of statements, right?
I think suggesting that black people have to vote a certain way or be called not black or traitors to their race is racist. It's
true. Even if it is a misspeak, it's still like terrible to say. Come on now.
It's very bad. It's very offensive. Yeah, that sucks. I think he was joking, so I think it was less bad. I think it was like Trump saying, I'm going to be a dictator for a day. It's a joke, so it's not as bad. But
well, but Trump, to be clear, Trump's not joking when he says that, though, right?
Trump. No, that was obvious.
Yo, this is where, oh, bro, this is where Destiny falls off for me, and like from like being serious to just like he's a joke. Like Destiny legitimately, 100% thinks that when Trump said that he was going to be a dictator for one day, like he literally meant that. And Destiny thinks that he was telling the truth, the hard, cold truth. Like Destiny thinks that Trump's a liar all the time. He's like, he lies all the time. But this one time when Trump says, I might be a dictator for one day, just one day. And he's like, that's 100% facts. That's true. And I'm like, bro, like, what?
A joke. I mean, that was 100% a joke.
You realize that was in response to Sean Hannity trying to give him a softball question.
I do.
And it wasn't a joke when he said
just for a day. How can you be a dictator just for a day? It doesn't make any sense. It's a joke. It was a fun joke. You got him there.
Boom.
Legit.
What do you mean? No, it makes perfect sense because people like you would say, well, he was just exploring all the legal avenues available to him to see what he could get done.
Making fun of people like you who are like, oh my God, he's going to be a dictator. It was a joke.
True.
You know it was a joke.
True. Yes. Making fun of people like him. And he doesn't even know. He doesn't even realize it. He doesn't even have a counter argument for that. What are you going to say? You're just going to breathe into the mic and then act all sad and then call her, well, she's the reason why, like, yeah, he's going to sign to this into the microphone, and then he's going to be like, you know what? You're the reason why like the US is going to fall apart because of people like you. That's what he's going to say, right? That's his counter argument to all of this. Like, it's a joke, man. Come on now. Chill. Calm down.
Come on. You know that was a joke.
I think that people like you are destroying this country. I legitimately feel like if
True, called it. Let's go.
this country falls, it's because of this hand-wringing that happens for Donald Trump. You have no standard of behavior for him. You will make an unlimited amount of excuses. You will compare a Joe Biden misspeak to how Donald Trump conducts it. It is sad that we don't share it. So like I said, like all these policies.
Okay, all right. A Joe Biden misspeak. Okay, so you can run water for Joe Biden, but you can't. But when people run water for Trump, oh no, you can't do that. Like, why can't you just run water for both of them or be critical for both of them? Like, why would you like he's literally a hypocrite, and then he's crying over her on why she's like not like being a hip I guess. Well, she isn't even being a hypocrite. Like she's just like she was being critical for both sides. Yeah, it's bad for Trump to do this. It's bad for bruh. This is wild. This is wild. This is why I can't take Destiny seriously. Like he's well, whenever it comes to Trump, anything that like Trump that comes out of Destiny's mouth, like I literally just rolled my eyes. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, we know that you don't like him. Yeah, that's great. Oh, you have a decent point. You have a decent argument. Yeah, I don't care. Literally, he's so it's so easy to dismiss him on like anything that he says about like Trump or anything with Trump supporters. Like he literally was talking about how like actually I'm gonna find this right now. We're gonna find this right now. Let's see. I have a quote of Destiny literally saying let's see. I need to find it. Because I never do this live. I'm reading through something. I have like a whole like spreadsheet of stuff. Where is it? Like Destiny, I don't even need to like bring it up. I guess like, but Destiny literally was talking about. He went on someone's show and he when there was the assassination attempt, the first one. Destiny basically was like he said like Trump supporters like you should just get a like he's just gonna laugh at them. Like if someone ends up getting like deleted at Trump's rally, like he like that's what you get. Basically, that's what he would say. That's what that he would say these terrible things about them. Like everyone who watches Destiny knows his takes on that. And I'm like, bro, he's a joke. He's literally just a joke when it comes to like anything to do with Trump. It's just a joke. He'll make an argument, but like you can see right through it so easily.
Policy discussions don't matter because we don't live in the same reality. You won't admit that Donald Trump, like, I'm curious, do you think that...
I feel so convinced that you and I have shared values and you're trying to call me destroying the country. Like, doesn't that give you pause? Like, I think we have a lot in common. I'm trying to get to the policy conversations.
I agree. I think there's people
that we have in common. Like, we probably both want Americans overall to prosper and to be safe and to have beautiful families and to be able to provide for them in dignity. You know, like I can't.
I understand that. I agree with that. And I agree.
I'm trying to be like, let's find out like what we agree on because there's so much there. And you're like, you're destroying this country.
Do you think that people that send their gay children to reprogramming camps, do you think that they love their children?
That's such an interesting question. I've never thought about that before. Let me think about it.
Destiny's trying to get her in a gotcha question, but it ends up backfiring on him so badly. And then he completely pivots off. Like, bro, you keep jumping from topic to topic and you're talking about, oh, we need to talk about one thing. We need to stay on one topic. I'm like, bro, why would you bring this up? Like, this is so random.
Worse nary. She seems reasonable for a lefty.
Yeah, true. Yes.
You mean because it's harmful, but they're doing it out of love?
Yes.
Is that the conundrum?
Well, it's not a conundrum. It's that just because you have a shared value of like an emotional or like a moral value that you share doesn't mean that you'll align on anything else. I'm sure that the Germans that supported Hitler, right? Probably legitimately, I doubt they were all like, we're just doing this because we hate the Jews.
I started this by saying, I don't think we agree on much, but I would rather be in a we with you than in a country without you.
Trump. Destiny's so like, he's so he's so Trump bad brain that all the takes that he has is all the comparisons that he tries to make in order to like make people understand is like the worst takes possible. Like, why would you even bring up the whole gender gay conversion therapy? Is that what he said? Like, why would you even bring that up in like after having a whole thing about Trump? and how you think he's bad and stuff like that. And then you bring up the whole Nazi stuff. Like basically right after the like when that first thing didn't work out, you had to bring up the Nazi stuff and make just to prove a point on like Trump. Like just right before talking about like right after talking about like Trump in the like, why do you go to these analogies? Why are these the first things that pop up after like when you can't figure out like whether you can you know what? Just keep going.
Because I think we share values, and if I can't convince you, I have to work harder. Like it's not even a question of. It would never occur to me to think that you're destroying this country. I think that you're a patriot who disagrees with me on issues, and I'm. Like,
but we can't. You understand there are some disagreements
in the conversation with you.
You understand there are some.
The idea that you could look at me because of some random person who neither of us has ever met and say that I'm destroying the country over some third party. Who, like, I find that very.
Of the United States.
I find that so.
It's still a third party.
We have to live in the same reality, regardless of like any moral like similarities we might have. That we have to live in the same reality.
Yeah, we should live in the same reality, but that doesn't mean we should have the same opinions as you. But like Destiny uses the same reality as like his worldview. Oh, you don't believe in my truth? Then you're not in the same reality. Like that's his code word for like people that don't live in the same reality. Like that he made like the way he frames it makes it seem like the other person is like in a completely different world and they're delusional and stuff like that. When all Destiny is just saying is his truth. He has a more sophisticated version of saying his truth, and I'm like, bro. I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't care. Like, who cares? Like, I can see through your BS.
In order for the country to function, right? Then there are some values that we have to share, and if we don't share these values, you have to be kicked out of the country, right? You agree with that, right?
But we do share those values.
Wait.
No, that's actually not how it works here. Well, you're an American if you're born in America. We don't kick people out for not sharing our values.
So we have a whole thing called the criminal code, right? And if there are certain things that you disagree with in the criminal code, it doesn't matter. If you do these things, you're incompatible, and we deprive you of your rights, right?
Well, you go to prison. We don't kick you out of the country.
Exactly.
Sure, okay. Well, you're kicked out of society, right? Felons are effectively removed from civil society, and you lose rights, right, for criminal conduct or criminal misconduct, right, or criminal conduct, I guess, right? So there are a set of things that we have to agree on. At the very least, when it comes to how we treat other people, you can't murder, you can't steal from people or commit arson.
Bro, okay, so we're gonna go back to the main point. He's comparing all of these terrible things like murder, and all the other things that you can get criminally prosecuted for, to literally Trump having a legal theory, believing that his legal theory was true, like legitimate or not. Like, bro, come on now.
Wow, she really buried him.
True.
Break the whatever, right?
This is why I love this video. I needed to finish this. We're only 57 minutes. We're only halfway done. Actually, hold up. She disappears after, so an hour and 16 minutes, that's when she's gone. And then for like after what? How long is this? Like from an hour 16 to an hour 55. So like 45 minutes later, he basically just copes with his other friends that believe the same thing that he believes, and then they just they basically just pat each other in the back, like saying like, oh look, like they kind of just circle jerk each other basically.
I think that epistemically there are things that we have to agree on as well.
We all believe the same thing. We're all in the same worldview, and then he feels so good about himself afterwards, and I'm like, bro, okay. I mean, you just talk to people that agree with you, and now he feels so much better about the conversation. I'm like, okay, all right, whatever.
Have to have some shared value in terms of
Where's
like
Neri?
that
Shame, I'll have to watch the end later. Got to get in 30 minutes.
Shame, I'll have to watch the end later. Got to.
Republics are good things. Now that might take different versions of it. Maybe somebody thinks
you gotta leave in 30 minutes. Okay,
we should balance the electoral college or whatever that might do. But like, if somebody's like, oh, I think that we should just have a king, right? Well, that's not very compatible with American values, right? You agree with that? There has to be like some set of like.
He literally does actually think that that Destiny thinks that conservatives think that they want a king, which is Trump, and I'm like, bro, that's delusional.
Stuck with me and all of the millions of people who agree with me. So what are you going to do with us? Like, you're stuck with us. You have to convince us, or you know what I mean? There's no other option.
That's my goal. My goal is to have a conversation and convince you.
Telling me I'm destroying the country is not going to convince you.
I'm not saying that for you. I'm saying it for the audience. That's the difference, right? It's because if I can't communicate with you, then I have to communicate to other people.
You are communicating with me.
I'm not. I can't. We can't share. Okay. I mean, like, you told me earlier that I can't give you a single set of facts that would convince you that Donald Trump knows that he lost the 2020 election.
I disagree with you about that. That doesn't mean that I don't belong in this country or that I'm not a person who loves this.
True. Like, what do you mean? Like, where's the court litigation saying that, oh, Trump, like where's the thing that Trump said, like, where's the court case or the prosecution of Trump thinking that what he said was a lie or not? Like, where is that? There is none, because they didn't prosecute him for that. Because like, he actually believed this. If he didn't actually believe this, then he would have gotten immunity. Like, come on now. Like, if the courts really think that Trump was really trying to pull a fast one, why would the Supreme Court rule like in favor of him? That doesn't make any sense.
country.
If you don't believe in the results of the last election, would you agree that like the election and the peaceful transfer of power are one of the most important parts of the United States of America?
Like I said,
wait, do you agree that? Do you agree that the?
Now he's gonna be super autistic and just keep asking the same question over and over and over again. But like, bro, like you were just talking about how like Hillary, like there was like you just had like 2016 election denial. Like you were saying, oh, actually, the Russians did have to play a part in the whole 2016 election thing. Like there was definitely some things that like Hillary was basically that he agrees that with Hillary saying that the election was bad. Like we literally heard him say this, and now he's talking about, oh, this is the most important thing, but yet you live in a delusional world where I guess Russia had some part to play in 2016 and how Trump won. Like, come on now. Like, how is this such a big deal? But then when you talk about anything about like Hillary talking like any 2016, like 2020 denial apparently is so big, but like 2016 denial, that's nothing. That's not important at all. But then he's gonna say that like the election, obviously just the election itself. Who cares about the timeline? Like if you deny that, then that's like a big deal. But you still support what Hillary said in 2016, though. So that's just ironic, honestly.
I agree that it is paramount.
Okay.
And I agree also, I believe, as the polling found, that 66% of Democrats believe that Putin had stolen the last election and interfered in the tallies, okay? So clearly that cannot be the standard by which we judge who gets to be an American, who gets to be part of our
government.
government.
Yes, true.
That's whatever you're saying is not true. That's not, that the election was...
Yeah, because if what she's saying is actually true, like Destiny has no rebuttal toward it. So he just has to say, actually, what you're saying is just a lie, so therefore true. Like, bro, you just that's how he dismisses things. He just says that the other person, when she brings up a fact that's actually true, like, nah, actually, you know what, I can't refute that right now, so you know what, my standard still stays because you're just lying, and that's it. Case closed. Like, debate one. Like, come on now.
Fake or fraudulent? That might have been true in one poll.
Literally intervened in the voting machines and the tallies.
No, I don't want to put you on the spot, but where did this come from? Where did this number or idea come from?
This number of 66%?
Yeah, see, he doesn't even know.
Widely circulated right after the election.
I've seen in 2018 that this is a YouGov poll, 59% of Democrats are very concerned about improper relations between the Trump campaign and Russia.
Well, she literally just said that this was right after the 2016 election, and you're going to pull up a 2018 thing? Like, what? Obviously, that's not what she was talking about.
That.
I can send
I thought you were really smart, Destiny.
It's very widely known.
Sure. Okay, yeah, you can show it to me later. But the fact that in the wait,
miserable if you think you can only exist in community with people, like if the only people who you think are not destroying this country like are people who totally agree with you.
No, I never said totally live in the same reality. You have to live in the same reality.
Yes, live in the same reality is code for believe in my truth. If you don't believe in my truth, then we're not living in the same reality. Therefore, you guys are delusional and we can't coexist.
I admire you so much. I want to hear everything else. I want to have this conversation with you, but I am destroying America.
Garbage argument.
I don't agree with you about
no,
like,
it's because we are having core fundamental value disagreements. Core fundamental value disagreements is the issue, right?
This is not core fundamental.
This is core. This is more core than anything else we've spoken about.
I agree with you on the value.
The value, no, you're agreeing with me. The value doesn't matter if it's generated after a totally different epistemic foundation, right? If we both say, for instance, we should be kind and compassionate to people, and a person says that I think that compassion is sending my gay kid to a re-education camp to get away the gayness, and another person says, well, I think that kindness is accepting my child as they are and not trying to force them into a different sexuality, right? Both of them can share that value of kindness, but they're coming from a completely and totally different place. There's no shared commonality there. So, like something is completely different between the two, right?
You know what? There's only one way to stop the first parent from doing that and make them become the second person. The second kind of parent. And it's by being in conversation with them. It's not by saying you're destroying this country.
Yeah, but when people on the outside are trying to say that both those parents are the exact same.
You have to have a consensus, right? You have to develop a consensus around things. And it's really amazing.
Yeah, literally, just calling other people delusional or destroying the country is not change. It's not changing the other person's mind or converting any people that
How does he get away with this? I thought he has a reputation of being good at debates. He terrible here.
Yeah, he is. Oh, there's another video we gotta watch. That's why I'm blowing through this at like 1.5 speed. So if it's a little hard to understand, like, let me see. Can I do let's do 2 times speed. This is gonna be insane, though. I don't think we can actually listen to this.
Because Trump did actually create consensus around a lot of issues. But it's not
to be clear, Donald Trump was not popular. He never exceeded 50%. Trump had no policies. What are we talking about?
How can you say that? I mean, he implemented executive order after executive order. He was extremely effective on trade, on immigration.
He wasn't effective on trade or immigration. That's not true. What do you say? Wait, how was he effective on trade? He failed miserably at trying to bring any of the Chinese manufacturing jobs to the United States. That took the CHIPS Act from Joe Biden.
All right, I'll just give you one example. Tariffs on steel and aluminum. He imposed.
Like, you guys can understand that, right? It actually is not. Like, I can kind of understand what they're saying. to like 90. I'm getting like 98% of like what I'm absorbing 98% of what they're saying, but I really have to focus.
Was a 25% tariff on steel and aluminum.
But if this is too fast, like, let me know.
All of the economists said, oh, this is going to explode the cost. No one's gonna be able to build anything. No one's gonna be able to buy anything, blah, blah, blah. But Trump said, you know what, the average, he didn't say this, but the rationale behind it was, the average steel worker makes $88,000 a year. Most of them are working in the South. So these are like right to work states. So these are not even union jobs, okay? 88K, solidly middle class wages in a lot of states in the South. We're gonna protect this. Like, why would we flood the market with tons and tons of cheap Chinese, steel and aluminum? We're gonna protect our
just a quick thing. So I'm looking at steel production figures, and I don't see this moving in a positive direction, basically, at all under Trump. It's about the same as it was under Obama, so I don't believe that, number one. Number two, the reason...
That's exactly the point. He protected it from going down.
It wasn't going down. It was...
He put the... Okay. I don't know what you're looking at on your screen, but
all right, let's just go back to, yeah.
You also have to... You also have to...
Can I just finish? Let me just finish. Sorry, because it did actually.
Okay, so like after listening for that, after listening to 2 times speed and going back to normal, like listen how this is so slow. Like this is
price for steel and aluminum did go up a little bit because right after he imposed the tariffs, 25% tariff has a really big impact. The price did go up for about 4 months, and then it went right back to where.
Yeah, I can't listen. It's just too slow. It's just too slow. We're gonna go back to 1.5.
It was because internal free market capitalistic competition within the U.S. between steelmakers brought that price right back down again. And that's exactly what you want. I mean, that's what an America First policy would look like. It would be something that, protects the labor of the American worker from cheap foreign competition. And that was 100% a Trump. And, if you talk to economists, sometimes they'll
you understand that, like, we can't manufacture everything in the United States, right?
That's not what she said. And thank you for the straw man argument. Like, bro, what? When did she ever say or even suggested that, well, everything should be built here? Like, where are you going on? Like, what? Like, you're just jumping from topic to topic. He's literally just jumping from topic to topic. And then he's going to criticize her at the end of it and like talk about the guys, like the noobs over here when she's not debating her anymore. And when I guess his name is Josiah or whatever comes into like the chat, he's gonna like basically saying, oh, she's been jumping topic to top, and I'm like, bro, when did she ever say that? And why are you jumping to that? Like, he jumps to conclusions, and then at the end of it, he thinks that she was the one that's been jumping to conclusions. I should probably breathe more.
We can't manufacture everything, but we were manufacturing much more in 1971.
First of all, why would we want to manufacture base level material when we can put together more sophisticated products? Why would we think it's like good for the economy to tariff like basic products when we could?
I think it's really good for an economy to have men doing jobs that don't require a college degree, making $88,000 a year on average. Like, that's just a very good.
True. Just because it's like a really basic like thing to do, if you're getting paid $80-something thousand a year for that, like, who cares? Who cares if we're basically like, bro, if people are getting paid tons of money to do very basic stuff, that's a good thing. Like, because like you could produce a lot more very basic jobs than you can produce the physical more complex, or more complex jobs. Like you could produce a lot more basic jobs than you can produce complex jobs. Like, yeah, I think that's
because
true.
you want more people to be middle class, and so it turns out those jobs are middle class jobs.
But then all of those people are also, first of all, so you're talking about one small sector of the economy to be employed, right? To whoever is working in steel manufacturing, that's going to.
Now he needs to discredit it because like she made it like a really good point, and now he's like, well, you know what? Let me just like discredit like what she's saying right now, and by saying, oh, it's actually just a tiny little subsector. Like, whatever, who cares about this? I'm like, bro, you're the one that brought it up in the first place, and now you're just gonna be like, nah, you know what? Let's just who cares? It doesn't even matter. It's a tiny subsect.
To make every single thing more expensive that has these products in
it.
It
actually didn't do that. It actually did not have that impact because the price of steel then leveled off. So it did.
If it doesn't make, then why were we importing it if it wasn't cheaper?
Well, here's the thing about tariffs that people don't realize is like it's actually very important very expensive to get something from one place to another.
Then why did people import it? Why didn't we just make it in the U.S. originally?
Why did they ship the jobs overseas to China in the first place?
Yes.
The labor in China is much cheaper.
Yeah, so it was cheaper to produce it over there. So if we tariff that and produce it here, it's going to be more expensive.
Well, no, because we don't have to transport it here. There's a lot of recovered costs.
Then why did we ever export it to China?
You really would have to ask the manufacturers why they did that. I think a lot of them were selling it to China. They were selling it, not to America. They were selling it around the world globally. I mean, there's a lot of companies that are like so invested in China that you look at Apple, for example, Apple is more like a subsidiary of the Chinese Communist Party at this point than it is like an American company because it's completely under the thumb of China.
Wait, do you think Apple has that problem more, or do you think TikTok has that problem more?
TikTok for sure, but Apple is, it's getting close. They give them all the data that they want from dissidents. It's really terrible. Why are you a person who thinks that TikTok is dangerous? Or
I think it's
kind of
I think
vague?
it's
I can't tell.
concerning. No, I think it's concerning.
Do we
Um,
agree on that? I have to go in 10 minutes, but I want to end on a nice note. Can we talk about things we agree about again?
we
I need
we
you to
don't
feel
agree.
better
I
about
don't
this.
feel better. I don't feel good.
Why do we agree on Israel and disagree on this? Like,
we don't
what's-
agree on
how did
Israel. I
that happen?
promise you, we don't agree on Israel.
Really? Why?
Absolutely not.
How are
Because
you
I think
so
that
concerned?
Israel.
Oh, bro, he's gonna. Actually, no. Twitch actually likes this because Destiny's purposely gonna give like the worst take possible on Israel Palestine, and basically trash Israel, and Twitch likes that. So you know what? let him say what he's gonna say. I'm gonna clip him right here. And then we'll use this as like a like maybe a funny cope moment. Like he's being contrarian. He's literally just gonna be contrarian just to prove the point that he's that we don't agree. Oh, we don't agree on anything.
Israel
Like he's
100%
mad
voted
right
the
now.
October
He's
7th
actually
attacks
so
happening by
mad.
foolishly and arrogantly assuming that they could kick the Palestinian problem can down the road forever and inflame those passions by moving the embassy to Jerusalem, by continuing to illegally annex and expand settlements in the West Bank without a permanent ceasefire or a permanent settlement agreement in place with the Palestinians, and by trying to do more and more bilateral peace agreements through the Abraham Accords while also continuing to ignore the Palestinians. I think that there was an incredibly arrogant decision by Israel to do so, and I think they did it to the harm and the detriment of the country.
I think it's a very legitimate point of view. I mean, it's not mine, but it's totally legitimate.
Okay.
How come
True.
you think like how come you're able to see the anti-Semitism and so many other people can't see it?
Well, at this point, I think people just see what they want to see, and I think that
How come you want to see it?
I'm willing to see things because, one, I'm lucky enough to not have a political.
See how he frames it? First, he's like, I think people just want to see what they want to see. And then she's like, well, why do you want to see it? And then he's like, well, I'm willing to actually see it. And I'm like, why didn't you just answer the question like that in the first place? Like, why are you, like, she's asking a direct question to you. And then, well, actually, no, she didn't really. I guess the way that, here, let's listen to that
I mean,
again.
it's not mine, but it's totally legitimate.
Okay.
How come you think like how come you're able to see the anti-Semitism and so many other people can't see it?
Oh, okay. I understand. Like she had a direct question to him, but I guess he only heard the last part of the question, which I guess he answered the end part basically was like, and what, like, it was a double question basically. Why do you see it? And how come other people can't see it? And he only answered the second one.
Well, at this point, I think people just see what they want to see, and I think that.
How come you want to see it?
I'm willing to see things because, one, I'm lucky enough to not have a political community anywhere. I'm literally just all on my own. So I fight with leftists, I fight with conservatives.
Yeah. Why are you all alone? Like there's a reason why no one. There's a reason why you're all alone, and then you're like crying about like, oh, why don't other people have the same view as me? Like, bro, I think the problem is you and your worldview. I think that's the issue. Like, oh, I'm all alone, so I don't have other people to like I don't have to placate to anyone. And like that's probably the reason why you're alone in the first place, actually.
I fight with anybody that I want
Like,
to.
that's
and I
a chicken and egg
in my
problem.
own community. So that allows me to, two, actually like read a bunch of stuff and just develop my own opinion, independent of whoever I'm trying to appease at that particular
Worse,
moment.
Neri.
I don't have to worry about that.
You nailed him.
True.
So I don't get paid by Russia like Tenet Media did, or like Dave Rubin or Tim Pool. I need to work you there, and I don't have like a big allegiance to any particular like political community, basically. Yeah.
He's so mad at the Tenet Media thing with Tim Pool. He's so mad. He brings it up every time he gets the chance to. Oh man, it's great. Every time he brings it up, I just know he's coping.
Very interesting. It's always interesting when people are swimming against. Do you feel that you're swimming against the tide, or you don't even experience it that way?
I think that the majority of people that say that they are swimming against the tide are just looking to swim along with a different tide, and then they dip their hand to the other one and they pretend they're getting a lot of pushback. It's like a comedian that stands up and goes, "I'm gonna make a really edgy joke right now," and then they make fun of trans people. Like, wow, I'm so edgy. It's like, congratulations. Like, you're in a crowd of people. They're all cheering you on.
Worse, Neri. I'm wearing a beanie as we speak.
Hey, would
yeah,
you count this as a beanie?
That way. But
I wouldn't say it's a beanie, but it kind of is. Like,
Super
there's a little
depressed.
flap at the back.
Oh no, I feel awful. You invited me on your show and I depressed you. I'm so sorry.
are you?
Why? Don't be depressed.
It's depressing. It's horrible. The conservatives have no standard for behavior in this country. But
I'm
you're
not
okay with
Yeah,
it.
it is. It is actually. It is very depressing for him because like he's by himself. No one actually believes what he believes. Trump won, and I mean this is before Trump winning, but he was already doomer pilled before Trump won. Like this came out October 21st. Yeah, October 21st, 2024. Yeah, he's doomer pilled. He was doomer pilled even before Trump won. Like he just knew. Like actually, no, he didn't even know that Trump was gonna win. He thought that Kamala was gonna win. And I made that whole video on like basically like I took like what 12 hours of content and condensed it down to like 6 minutes of all like the funny like key moments when Desi kept saying, guys, we got it in the bag. Even though like Trump was like up like what? Like he was like 260 something, and the blue bar was like not even over 100 electoral votes yet. I'm like, bro, he's delusional. He's delusional.
Wait, do you support Kamala Harris in this
Oh wait,
upcoming election?
this was big. This was big.
Wait, the conservatives have no standard for behavior in this country. But
I'm
you're
not
okay with that.
conservative. I'm a leftist.
Wait, do you support Kamala Harris in this upcoming election?
I'm still making up my mind. Like, there are definitely things that could change.
You're supporting Donald Trump 100%.
See, if she doesn't say I'm supporting Kamala 100%, it's an automatic. You're supporting Trump. True, 100%. Like it's there's no middle ground with this guy. There's no middle ground, and he thinks he's so smart and smug. He's so smart and he's so smug about it too. Like he is actually smart. Like not even kidding. Like he is smart, but he's smart. I look over there because I thought the camera. He's too smart for his own good. Honestly, like, well, when I say smart, I mean logical. He's too logical. I shouldn't say smart. I think he's too logical for everything, and he doesn't when he doesn't want to understand when he doesn't want to be sympathetic, it's very easy for him to completely ignore the fact that give like a good faith argument.
Smug to the maximum.
True.
No, I really am still.
There's no reasonable person that is undecided at this point. It's impossible.
I really liked her.
There's no reasonable person that's undecided at October 21st, 2024 of whether you're going to vote for Trump or not. And there's no reasonable person there. Like, it's just true. Like, what?
Her sort of the plan that came out right in the beginning to fight price gouging. But then we haven't heard much about that since. I think that's one of the most important issues is how groceries have raised basically the greedflation from corporations.
Sure, but I mean, like, one of the reasons why do you agree that we don't talk about policy a lot because Donald Trump doesn't talk about policy?
Donald Trump talks about policy constantly.
Can you give me a single policy he's talked about besides tariffs?
Immigration.
I mean, I can name a bunch, but then Destiny's like, well, that's not policies. Those are slogans. And I'm like, then what's the difference?
What is his policy? He just says we're going to close the border. There's
mass deportations?
You think that's a real thing that's going to happen? We're going to deport 20 million people or whatever?
I don't know, but it has the support of...
Bro, he literally says, oh, what's a policy that he did? She gives a policy, and he's like, oh, you think that's actually going to happen? I'm like, bro, what do you... Like, you asked for a policy, she gave a policy, and now he's like, well, you think that's actually going to happen? And I'm like, okay, all right. Like, there's no pleasing this guy.
51% of
He's
Americans.
just mad.
Policy. That's a slogan.
63% of Hispanics.
That's a
so
slogan. He has
popular.
no border. That's fine. Yeah, slogans are popular, but there's no legislation he's proposed. There's no bill that he's supporting.
Not in government. How could he propose legislation?
He shut it down when he was out of government.
I mean, that was not a good bill.
You can say it wasn't a good bill, but it was authored by Lankford in the Senate. Most Republican commentators agree that was a gift to Kamala Harris and that it was a bill that probably would have been unpopular with a lot of Democrats, but now they can take credit for saying that the other side basically shot it down, which they did.
Yeah, but people are not buying that. See, that's an example of Democrats trying to push a line that is not... But let's get back to why you're feeling depressed and how I can make you feel better.
We live in fundamentally separate realities. There's no feeling better about it. We just live in a totally different... Do you think that when you look at the immunity decision from the Supreme Court and Donald Trump seeking that type of criminal immunity, does that type of stuff worry you? Is that a thing that bothers you at all?
No.
I do think that it's important that a president have some level of immunity.
Because it's literally a presidential immunity. Like, every president gets this. Like, why would that bother me? Just because Trump was a president before and he gets thrown into that ruling. Biden right now has that same ruling right now. So, and what's going on right now? Nothing's going on right now. Bruh. Biden's literally in office and he has that, the immunity rulings for all presidents, not just Trump. And he's trying to make it seem like this is oh, this is a Trump thing. It's very scary. Come on now. This is for everyone. And what's Biden doing right now? Nothing. He's not doing anything because it was always assumed.
Immunity. Otherwise, what they were saying, well, people could then, go after Barack Obama for drone strikes. And
wait, but Barack Obama was president. He came and he went. And nobody did. So what was the issue? Barack Obama didn't ask for criminal immunity. Do you notice that Barack Obama went to the White House, the Office of Legal Counsel, and the DOJ? That's where he tried to get his advice from, not private attorneys that he hired to steal an election for him.
You're not gonna like the answer to this, but it's, I think it is. Okay, let me see if you would agree with this.
Can I guess your answer? Can I guess your answer? Are you going to say that Barack Obama was part of the establishment and Donald Trump came in as an outsider and the deep state was fighting against him and that's why he needed more protection than Barack Obama was part of the establishment?
That it is in the nature of power to try to keep and consolidate and grow its power rather than cede it?
This is another great example of a value statement because I agree with it. I do agree with that. But you're going to agree with it. But I'm going to say what you're saying doesn't make sense because the power is shared among people in government. Donald Trump doesn't want to share power. That's why for instance, why isn't Donald Trump running with the same vice president that he had before?
I mean, because Donald Trump is not a conservative and Mike Pence is a conservative. Donald Trump does not
JD Vance is a conservative. What are you talking about?
Free trade and
wait. JD Vance is a conservative, right?
Free trader and Donald Trump does not believe in foreign wars.
JD Vance is a conservative. Do you acknowledge that JD Vance is a conservative?
He is.
That wasn't the main point of what she was saying. Like you completely ignored the fact that she was like still talking, and you're like, well, JD Vance is a conservative. Well, JD Vance is a conservative. Well, JD Vance is a conservative. Like, bro, what are you trying to prove a point here? Like, what are you trying to prove here?
Okay, so that doesn't make any sense.
I'm saying there are three. The argument I'm trying to make is like there were sort of three planks of the GOP, the Reagan GOP. Okay, there was the foreign intervention.
She makes one misspeak, and then he completely erases everything else that she says afterwards. Like it's so bad faith. Like he's completely checked out of the entire conversation. He doesn't even care anymore. He's like, whatever, it doesn't matter. He's depressed, and now he's just like venting. It was
American exceptionalism. There was free markets and free trade, and there was social conservatism. That was the GOP before Trump. And Trump showed up, and Trump is not a social conservative. He does not believe in foreign wars, and he does not believe in free trade. And he basically took an axe to the sort of three legs of the party, which are, you look at the primary, and that's kind of what
but remember, JD Vance is a conservative. Like, come on now. Like, he said that 3 times. Like, JD Vance is a conservative. Come on now. That like argument destroyed. Remember, you said that JD Vance was a conservative.
Haley represented, and there's just zero interest in that from the Republican electorate anymore. Like nobody wants that version of the GOP anymore. So Mike Pence really represented that, and I think he took him the first time around because he thought, oh, I should try to get those establishment Democrats to vote for me with this guy.
But then why did he choose J.D. Vance, who is an establishment Republican?
He's very much not an establishment.
He literally said that Trump was going to be like, he didn't know that Trump was America's Hitler.
Well, he's had a big change of heart since
when
then.
he got picked for VP.
No, he's been pro-Trump for the last, I want to say, like 2 or 3 years.
That's enough. He was governor, and he's a Republican prior to that.
He's a senator. He's not a governor.
I'm sorry, a senator prior to that.
Bro, you don't even know the guy. Yo, he's a governor. He's a senator. You don't even know this. And he doesn't even know all like the information, but he has such a heavy and like hard and like what do you call it? A very strong stance on something he doesn't even know all the information on. Like it's just stupid. Like he doubles down on things that he doesn't even know the information on, but he's so not convinced. He's so, you could say arrogant, but there's a better word. He's so, it's like the combination of convinced and arrogant, but like without the negativity of being arrogant, but convinced isn't like strong enough. Strong? He's so strong on his position?
Worse nary. Up himself, he.
Yeah, he is full of himself, honestly. I can't figure out the word, but
yeah, very pro-Trump senator.
No, he said that Donald Trump represented the exact type of speech that scared people that he loved.
That was before he became senator. But as a senator, JD Vance has been the most bipartisan senator in the Republican Party since he got into the Senate. He sided with the railroad workers. Every time Bernie Sanders has asked for anything, related to workers' rights, JD Vance has been, pretty on board with that. He actually he walked a picket line with auto workers.
Destiny doesn't even know any of this. He doesn't even know any of this. All Destiny hears is all the negative things that Vance would have said about Trump. And this was like long before old clips that he was talking about. And he doesn't even know the timeline. He just knows that, oh, didn't Vance say these 2 bad things about Trump one time? And he's like, and then she's like, yes, but that happened a long time ago. Like, did you not hear what he said like previously? Like what just happened in the last 2 years? Oh no, man. Destiny's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Now he's completely checked out because he knows that he lost the argument.
He's a pro-worker, anti-trade, anti foreign intervention, foreign wars.
Like he obviously doesn't know who JD Vance is.
This isn't like personal. I'm just asking because I see the pen and everything. Are you Israeli or do you like
support Israel? Look at that. He's jumping again. He knows that he can't win that argument. So now he's going to be like, oh wait, aren't you Israeli? Like what does that have to do with JD Vance? Like we were just talking about that, and you're going to complain about how she's the one jumping around. Like bro, like what are you doing right now?
I'm Jewish. Okay. I'm not Israeli.
Okay. Do you think that America should support Israel?
I think right now it is very much in America's strategic interests. We get a lot out of that relationship, but I think we, honestly, at this point are getting more out of the foreign aid we give to Israel than Israel is, and I think Israel should stop taking it because it's really hobbled its ability to be sovereign, in my view.
Do you think that the United States should continue to support Ukraine?
No.
That was such an easy question. No. Oh, wow. Okay. Based.
I don't think we get anything out of that relationship. I'm much more like Barack Obama in 2012. I don't see Russia as a great threat to the United States. And I think it's really interesting that that's now considered to be like a conservative position when that was the Democrats' position until very recently.
Wow.
Including after they annexed Crimea. But I guess this is for...
Wow. And Destiny has no response to that except to say, sure.
For the next conversation. I hope you'll have me back.
Do you think, yeah, I mean, we can talk whatever you want. Just as a curious thing, do you think that Russia tries to like interfere in our digital media?
Sure, yeah. I don't think that their interferences are determinative or convincing, but of course they do. Yeah, sure.
Do you believe in like that?
I think we do that to other countries as well.
As much as Russia does?
And I think China does it to us too as well. What's your point, Destiny?
Probably not as much, but we have a bad history with nation building and intervening and regime change, and we've got our share of faults. Luckily, I think the American people are too smart for that crap, so it doesn't bother me very much. I mean, I think we should have better relations.
The reason why Destiny keeps bringing up Russia is because he loves his Russian conspiracy theories. He loves it so much. He loves the Russian conspiracy theories. The only reason he even is the only reason Destiny could be like an election denialist, because he is an election denier, because he thinks that the 2016 election was kind of like rigged and stuff like that because of Russia, and that's why he's like, why are people talking about Russia? Like, Russia did have such a big handling in the 2016 election, right? Right, guys? Oh, no one's talking about it. All right, let's be in our little corner of the planet and talk about the Russian conspiracy theories about the 2016 election, and how Trump. The only reason Trump won was because of the because of those Russian Facebook ads or whatever. But let's keep going
with them, so they wouldn't do it. But I don't feel like that's actually altering the minds of my fellow Americans. I just have too much faith in them.
Okay. Well, hey, listen, if you want to chat about anything else ever, if anything else ever comes up, you can shoot me a DM.
I do. I'm sorry I made you sad. My intention was the exact opposite.
All right. Well, listen, yeah, if any particular thing comes up, yeah, feel free to shoot me a message.
We stay in touch.
Yeah, well, you're always on my DM, so.
Okay.
All right. I'll talk to you later. Bye. I have to go into the jungle and do DMT and reevaluate, because somebody is just detached to a clinically insane level. I think it's diagnosable. One of us, when I'm having these conversations, one of us has to be medically crazy. I think it can't be.
It can't be you though, right?
Something is not happening. I mean, either my mind is not clicking on something, or.
I mean, obviously, it's your mind that's not clicking on something. Like, Trump won, and you really you're the one that's being delusional here. I mean, I'm saying this in hindsight because this was before the election, but Destiny's super convinced that.
Good timing. I got to go. He lost so badly. Cheers.
Cheers. All right. I'll see you later. Yes, I'll see you later. I'm gonna butcher your name if I try to pronounce it. I'm sorry. All right, yeah, I don't really care to listen to him circle jerk with his orbiters. So let's just switch Rooney to the next video. I really want to watch this because wait, actually, hold up. This one, oh shoot, actually, talks about Destiny's future ban. I kind of want to watch. Oh, you guys can't even see that. Now you can. I kind of want to watch this. They talk about Destiny a bunch. But you know what? Yeah, we're gonna do the Tim Pool one. Let's new tab. Boom.
Destiny has a viral video right now where he says that all of the people on the right should be banned.
Including you.
Including me.
Yeah.
He says people like,
By name?
By name.
Yeah, by name.
I don't know who else he mentions, I don't remember, but he says Tim Pool, these people, they're only awful and their platform should be totally banned. And I'm like,
oh, he said
that sounds exactly like what I said. Yes, all these people should be banned because they're awful. Yes, true.
Yeah, bro. Okay. All right, Destiny. Look at him. He's literally just memeing right now. Since Tim Pool didn't say exactly the way that Destiny said it, it's obviously just a lie. He's just trolling right now. Oh, is this true? Yeah, of course I said that, guys. It's not like I said something very relatively close to what he's actually saying. No, what he's saying is actually true. Yeah.
True, my queen, Tim Pool. Yes.
We hold the power of the institutions. We won the popular vote. The advertisers are siding with X, and he's gonna get himself banned for screaming this. And bye-bye, Destiny.
Yo, Disney came back.
Wait, Destiny's gonna get banned for saying you should be banned? Is that a...
You guys misunderstand it. Guys, the
That's not his point. But I guess Destiny can have his bad faith arguments, or bad faith interpretations. I don't really want to watch. We'll watch this, and we'll watch the specific part. But I need to get, Tim Pool YouTube channel. Actually, I need Timcast IRL. Where's the posts? No. Podcasts? No. All right. No. Tim Cast IRL. Boom. No, we're gonna go to live. We need to find the one where he talked. Yeah, there we go. Andrew, what's his name? What's his face? Andrew Wilson. Yes, but we're gonna do some cheat codes because we're not gonna watch a 2-hour podcast right now. I need to get to the juicy parts, so we gotta get that good old transcript up and running, and then we don't need to see chat. We do Control F. Boom.
So the latest reporting is that
and we're gonna put him on 1.5 speed. Is that good enough?
DOJ and FBI officials have begun lawyering up in anticipation.
Yeah, I think that's fast enough. And then we're gonna type in, because boom, Destiny. All right, so let's see. What did he say here?
Like Destiny, not to make it appear that it's not. There's no way, right? Because in many ways, it is a reaction. You've pulled the rubber band back so far, and it snapped. And it's like, look, we really don't have a choice at this point.
Yeah.
Many of these things got to be investigated. And people have been so irate, especially the fallout January 6th. You see these liberals, crazy, insane leftists like Destiny saying, lock them away, throw away the key. You'll watch them, during these multiple assassination attempts, say, hey, the guy deserved it, this kind of thing. The rhetoric and the push by the Democrat machine.
Then Destiny literally said that, but Destiny tries to memory hold that, but okay.
To imprison anybody who dissents against them. Yeah, investigate the shit out of them. Yes.
Yeah, I think that that's necessary to restore your average American's faith in the Justice Department. Yeah. If people pay attention to the news, if they watch and I'm not talking about to the legacy media, I'm talking about like if they're looking at Destiny's, they are, but they're all idiots.
Okay, so the next time they talk about Destiny is like literally 20 minutes later.
Reincarnation of the worst dictator of the 20th century, blah, 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 blah.
Who are we talking to? And the producer came in and said, yeah, 28,000 T-Demo viewers. You're talking to nobody. And I got to be honest, Joe, those viewers, hotel lobbies. That's it. So no one listens anymore. He's going to have to go pro-Trump.
And they dropped so many right after
AOC's trying to.
Because Monday, they called him, right next, he's adjacent to Hitler, and then by Friday, they're having lunch with the guy.
Yeah.
Look, when you spend,
lunch with Hitler.
Yeah.
Right? When you spend as much time doing exactly what we're talking about, calling him Hitler, calling all the most terrible names that you can come up with and say that he's literally the reincarnation of the worst dictator of the 20th century, blah, 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 blah. And then he wins not just the Electoral College, but wins the popular vote. Smart people are going to recalibrate. And you have to say, okay, look, this didn't work. What am I missing? Right now, I do think that they deserve to be scrutinized. I'm not saying that you should respect.
I only see him doubling down, though. I mean,
with Joe and Mika.
These dinosaurs may not, but if you look at these general YouTubers or people like this who are now dispensing the news, right? These are the guys who are now dispensing it. They may use these as sources,
They're morons.
right? But people are getting
No,
they're
but
getting their news from all these little tiny little channels everywhere. They might use these as sources, but that's where people are getting it. They're doubling down. They're like, look,
yeah,
absolutely, Democrats don't need to change anything. This was a fluke. This was a one-off.
Hassan,
all those terrible people.
Yeah, your Destinies. They are, but they're all idiots. Like, they're feeding.
Yeah, but why should we expect change from them then? If that's what
that's not.
Was it you debating Destiny?
I was making.
I don't know if it was you debating Destiny, but someone brought up democracy. He was saying that Trump was a threat to democracy or something like this, and then someone mentioned if Trump wins the popular vote, isn't that democracy?
Yeah.
And he was just like, well, now is it really about democracy?
No.
I wonder. Well, of course, I know that the answer is no. I'm saying he wants to make the argument that it's about democracy only because they won the popular vote and assumed Kamala was going to win the popular vote.
Yeah.
Bill Maher said Trump can't win. He's not going to win. Kamala's going to get the popular vote at least. Once they realized that was not true and Trump is the more popular side of history, now so many of these people are changing their tunes. I doubt Kyle or Pac-Man or Sam Cedar or any of these people, Destiny, they're not going to change their tunes because they've embedded themselves in this fringe ideology and hateful rhetoric.
True.
They're in trouble. Because the what happened with the adpocalypse and cancellation is going to start happening to them. It's quite simple.
Already happening on Twitch.
Oh, right, they're getting banned.
Yeah, banned. Done.
Lefties are?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a big story recently. Who's the big ban?
They're fighting right now with Hassan, right?
The Twitter adpocalypse.
Yeah, the Twitter adpocalypse. Twitch adpocalypse. I mean, the thing is, you see this across the board. The left is getting absolutely demolished on rhetoric. They overplayed their hands. But I'm telling you, none of these newscasters, leftist creators are saying anything other than double down, double down, double down. The TikTok trends that I see when I engage with these TikTok lunatics all over the internet, and I do it all the time, is the same exact thing. Double down, double down, double down, double down. They say Orange Man bad, Trump is bad. We're not changing anything. They don't seem like they want to change anything.
Let's jump to this from tribune.com.pk. I have no idea what this is. What is this? The Express Tribune. They say Asmongold blames Hassan Abi for Twitch's adpocalypse affecting streamers' ad revenue.
It's actually Destiny's.
Destiny is? is?
Well, it's not Destiny himself. It's Destiny's followers because they're going after us.
Well, let's get the story first.
yes.
So they say, Asmongold explained his position during his broadcast, saying Hassan clearly is one of the biggest proponents of this. I would say he is the main reason. He added a majority of the examples used in discussions about demonetization on Twitch pertain to Hassan Mabye. That's Hassan Piker. Maybe not 90, maybe 80, 70, but it is the majority of all examples in the entire platform. The adpocalypse refers to a reduction in ad revenue across Twitch, reportedly affecting some creators by as much as 90%.
Yeah.
Industry experts, including Devin Nash, have previously linked the issue to polarizing political content on the platform. Hassan Mabye has faced criticism for his coverage of Middle Eastern conflicts with allegations of promoting anti-Semitic rhetoric. U.S. Congressman Richie Torres even cited Hassan Piker in a congressional letter accusing Twitch of amplifying extremist voices. Asmongold defended his stance, stating, "You can say it's unfair, that's fine, but you can't say that it's not happening, or that's not the reason." He also criticized Twitch for its inconsistent moderation policies. They go on to mention that Twitch has not officially commented on the controversy, but recently updated its hateful conduct policy regarding the term Zionist.
Because the ADL told him to.
Is that, well, look, hey man.
Yeah, not getting the ADL and put in a policy. They said, nope, you got to do this. They capitulated the ADL immediately.
This is liberals and leftists welcomes to Leopard ate my face.
Yeah.
Leopards ate my face. This is, they advocated and begged, and to this day, they still beg for it. And I am happy to watch them crumble and wither into a dried husk of their former selves.
The gamers all over Twitch are like, no, get all. They want all political content off of Twitch. Gamers are begging Twitch, get rid of political.
Oh, no. What do you mean? Keep the content. I like doing this. Political stuff. Bro, what do you think I'm doing right now? Come on now.
Content. We don't want it. We want ad-friendly content. That's us gaming, right? That's ad-friendly content. We don't want this. But for Twitch, these guys are
I mean, bro, I'll pull up some Factorio right now. Since you don't want me to game. I'll pull up some Factorio. I mean, let's just actually like. Oh. Hold up. Oh, well, whatever. Who cares? We don't need that right there. Boom.
Cows, right? Hassan, they're cash cows.
Destiny has a viral video right now where he says that all of the people on the right should be banned.
Including you.
Including me.
Yeah.
He says people like,
By name?
By name.
Yeah, by name.
I don't know who else he mentions. I don't remember. But he says Tim Pool. These people, they're only awful and their platform should be totally banned. And I'm like,
he said Tucker Carlson.
Right.
He said Tim Pool. He said there was multiple personalities.
I'm in complete agreement right now with him, and I'm glad he brought it up because we hold the power of the institutions. We won the popular vote. The advertisers are siding with X, and he's going to get himself banned for screaming this. And bye-bye, Destiny.
Yo, Disney came back to X too, even.
That's what I'm talking about. All the major corporations are coming back to X because Destiny and his ilk are on the wrong side of history.
Yeah.
Destiny wanted to make the argument about democracy and all that. Well, he's anti-democracy. The more he complains, he is opposed to the will of the people. So if he wants to advocate for bannings, I say, well, don't look at me. But my stance on this has changed.
And he's by the way, this guy's always been a deplatformer. I mean, going way back, he's always been the advocate for deplatforming, unless it's him. Unless it's
10 years ago, I was in the we shouldn't ban people, we protect free speech, even for those who disagree with camp. Now I'm in the I do not defend my enemies.
Yes.
Destiny wants to burn down free speech. I say, hey, man, you're on your own. So when they start ripping their revenue away and banning them out, and Hassan as well, I just say, sucks for you guys, I guess. I ain't going to speak up for you.
No.
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm not.
Suffer.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit there. I would never go and go out of my way to try and, like, get someone banned, but I'm not going to do one. I'm not going to lift one finger. Right. I'm not going to waste one bit of breath trying to defend him or anyone that says, oh, these people should be banned. If you're advocating for banning people, like, beat it. I'm not going to defend you.
What people are saying is even so much worse than that. It's not even just the idea of democracy. What Destiny was saying in that video clip, and I've heard this echoed from guys like Pac-Man and many others, is that all of humanity is benefited by you being gone. You even having a place to say anything is an existential threat to humankind itself.
That's what he's saying.
And all that happens is that the world's going to improve by getting rid of you. That's a call to action. Yeah. That's an actual call to action. We must do this. We need to get rid of these people. How is it not if you say these people are an existential threat to everybody, right? How's that not really a call to action? Because that's what it sounds like to me.
There's a reason why, and this is actually a fascinating metric I'd love to study. Maybe we could hire like maybe People's Pundit. Rich Bears could help us out with this. After the election, that was a major inflection point. CNN and MSNBC's ratings collapsed. Yep. David Pakman, Brian Tyler Cohen, they started bleeding subscribers.
Yeah.
And he made a big deal out of it.
Yeah, he did.
And then when we responded, he made another big deal out of it. If you look at their accounts on X, AOC lost like 150K this month, more now. They're fleeing to Blue Sky or other apps. And so we saw in the inverse, Fox News' ratings go up. Our viewership skyrocketed. We jumped a substantial amount. We are still seeing increased ratings. Right now, we're at 60,625 concurrent views, where we were averaging before like 45K. So we've seen a boost. I'm wondering if this is regular people were watching these leftists, these liberals, believed them, saw that the majority of the country did not agree. Some of them either asked themselves, am I wrong? Some of them said, oh crap, I'm on the wrong side of history. But I'm wondering if we can actually track that sentiment among people who ditched the liberal shows and are rushing over here. And I think then the reason why people like Destiny are saying we'd be better off without them is because then the viewers would have nowhere else to go and they'd be trapped in his sycophantic lie machine.
Well, it's always been the case that the leftists on Twitch and on YouTube have always pulled their resources, especially on Twitch, to remove any right-wing personality who existed there. For a good example of this, Fuentes was on Twitch. He was vastly popular. I think, to my understanding, he did follow the terms of service that they had set down at the time. They got rid of him because leftists collectively demanded that they get rid of him. That was it. And it's because, why? Well, he siphoned a ton of viewers. And because of that, he siphons their money. And that's what it comes down to, right? You're exactly right. They want to have the pool of viewership and the pool of cash. So, yeah, they do collectively demand often that right-wingers be removed from these platforms, whether they're breaking the TOS or not. They don't care. And they'll make shit up. I've seen them make up various things. I've seen them say, this guy's advocating for transgender genocide and all sorts of crazy things that nobody ever said anything about in order to push reports to various platforms to get you deplatformed.
You know, the craziest thing I've been talking about for the past month, I went onto the front page of YouTube. I normally don't look. I don't go onto YouTube and look at default not signed in account like a fresh browser login. And I started to because we saw our viewership spike randomly. And I was like, okay, we got to be featured. Like, they put you on the front page, your viewership's going to jump. So I go to the front page, and sure enough, I see Timcast IRL, and I'm like, wow, something changed in the algorithm. I don't know if it's after the CEO passed on, rest in peace, no disrespect. The new CEO had a change of heart and said, if the show's good, it's good, put it on the front page. What I noticed, though, when I started looking, there are channels that will take a clip of me from this show talking about, I don't know, roosters, and then
Millie
put
the
that
Elf.
in a script.
Hello.
Thanks for the follow. Do not ask me about AI art. I mean, do not do not ask me about making banners or art or anything. I'm not interested. Thank you very much. Appreciate the follow, though.
With Cenk Uygur, who was talking about tax rates from 5 years ago, and make it seem like we're debating. And they'll get 30,000 views on it and make money. That's insane and freaky stuff. So you'll get a video where, I can't remember, one of them I saw made the claim that me and Cenk Uygur were fighting with each other, and we were enemies, and I was like, that's really weird. Like, he was actually, we were talking to him about coming on the show, and everything was cordial. We disagreed, but he's been cordial. So I clicked the video, and it was a total fabrication. And it had like 38,000 views or something, and I was like, holy crap. I went back and I saw a bunch of these, Ben Shapiro debating a guy, and different channels doing it. They realize that this space and these debates get traffic and people want to see it. They realize that big names attract the viewers, and so they can make a fake video. They don't call it parody or anything like that. They just say, wow, look at this, whoa, and then they play it. It's
that's been going on for years. People tapping into the large content creators have conflict.
Making these fake videos I've never seen before. They do it all.
Yeah, they've been doing it for a while.
Making videos from two different channels totally unrelated to each other and combining them to make a fake debate.
Well, maybe not specifically that. Was it an actual fake debate that they hosted? Oh, really?
It was like a short video with a couple clips. One of them was me, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but let's say I'm talking about Joe Biden comes out and says Trinidad tablet pressure, and then I go, what was that? That was gibberish nonsense. The man's not even speaking English now. How could you sit there and tell me this guy is giving me an honest argument? And then it would be a clip. Cenk Uygur going, don't say that. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, but I mean, that's old. That's an old way to do satire too.
Yeah,
right?
But this was not satire. It was a guy hosting it going, hey guys, so I was watching a debate with Tim and Cenk, and it was really crazy because Tim was saying this, and I was like, what?
Just totally fabricated?
Yes, 100%. And there were a bunch of them from different people, and I was like, yo, what is this? That's freaky.
So they just look at what's trending in the algo, maybe, and then try to push that content out.
Certain names get clicks.
Yeah, of course.
It's like when people make the clips from this show where they edit it in funny ways, where it's like me and Ian staring into each other's eyes, and then the next clip is like we're not there anymore, and then those are funny. But these videos are weird. Anyway, to your point, the reason I bring it up, it is like Sam Cedar is the king of this. He just makes things up every day. It's like his whole show is just fabricated. The dude literally came on the Culture War podcast.
I know, I watched it.
Did you see when he said, that's the clip I was trying to get?
Yep.
He admitted to doing it. So this guy, Sam Cedar, comes
So I was expecting when he came on that this was going to be a really kind of a good exchange because Cedar is known as being a fairly decent debater inside of these spheres. I never thought so, but he's known for being one. And he was just kind of doddering. He was like, I want to make an allegation, but I can't make an allegation, but I want to make an allegation.
The best example is, I outright said I'm pro-choice. I think due to the impossibility of regulating certain issues pertaining to health, and so I said the Supreme, so I don't want to relitigate the whole argument. The point was, Supreme Court has to give us an answer on personhood as to whether the 14th Amendment applies to the unborn as persons, not citizens. We don't have that. I believe a conservative court will, and that will ban abortion overnight. It would require adjudication for it. Personally, I said, as of right now, I'm more pro-choice. I think abortion is wrong, but I see an impossibility in properly regulating it right now because of various issues.
Cringed him.
Sure,
Cringed him.
And that's fine. And I said, so I think, I don't know if it's 15, 18, 22 weeks, whatever that number is, we'll find where a woman can just go in. And I said, there are questions of consent. He then asks me a hypothetical. How would you deal with consent? I'm like, should we get a rape kit, I guess? And he was like, so a woman would have to get a rape kit to prove that she didn't consent. And I was like, yes. My argument was never that I thought women should be forced to do these things. Mine was, I'm pro-choice up to a certain amount, pre-viability. A woman doesn't need a reason at all. I think it's wrong, and we want to go the Ron Paul route. It should be unthinkable, not illegal. In the event of consent, he asks me, he then goes off and starts saying things like, you're disgusting, you son of a, you're so gross. And I'm sitting here being like, oh, here he goes. You're trying to get a clip. After he was finished with his overly emotional rant, he just calms down and goes, that was the clip I was trying to get. Outright admitting on the show, he just wanted to cause a scene. It's remarkable. This is what the left does, and this is why they lose. If I said something to you like, if you were a leftist, Andrew, if you were like a hardcore leftist, what do you think, tax-wise, what tax rate would you advocate for?
90%.
You insane! Exactly. You really? And then you're disgusting. And then what we do is we clip the part where I say, what tax rate would you advocate for? You say 90%.
Yeah.
And I claim, and that's what he does, and it's fake. His whole show is fake. And this is what they do. And so the reason why they don't like the competition is because they want to be able to lie, manipulate the algorithm, make money. They are what they project onto others. They say everyone else is grifting, and it's one big scam. But you know what? Greg Gutfeld, I gotta give him credit for it every time I say this because it was masterfully said. The left, their whole worldview is downstream from hoaxes. Everything they talk about is derivative of a hoax. But once you see through one of them, there's no going back.
Yeah.
My response to that is, that explains SNL, for instance. The jokes on SNL that don't make sense, where they have RFK Jr. out and come out and be like, gotta get rid of all the vaccines. And I was like, well, what's the joke? I mean, RFK Jr. is not anti-vax. It's because in their hoax world, they think he hates vaccines. And then you actually listen to the guy like any sane person, and he's like, I think vaccines should undergo rigorous testing like every other medication, and I recommend them. And you're like, oh. So it's like a moderate position. It's totally normal.
Yeah, well, in satire, if it doesn't point at the truth, isn't funny. That's the point, right? And so when people say Saturday Night Live, for instance, isn't funny, because you're not pointing at the truth. If you're not pointing at the truth, you can't have any humor. Otherwise, what are we even talking about?
So anyway, I digress. I'm done ranting about those people. But so what? Twitch revenue is just flat. The stock guys says his ad revenue is down 95%.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Twitch
had a great opportunity with their platform before they sold out. They had some great shows on there with some great talent, and they literally buckled under to Hassan Piker. I mean, basically, whatever Hassan wants on that platform, Hassan gets, and that's that. So if you're a popular right-wing entertainer or commentator, you go on there and you make fun of the golden boy, you're gone. I mean, that's it. So Twitch has always been unfriendly to the right. Everybody knows
that.
Yep. But now it's so beyond obvious, and that's why the gamers there like, look.
Isn't Twitch Amazon?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, I think Bezos must have had a conversation with somebody. You know, he comes out and says, Washington Post, we're not going to endorse. He's like, oh, we have to be impartial. I think when the left started saying that they were going to pass these taxes on unrealized gains, and he actually got us to defend Jeff Bezos, or I should say that the left got us to defend Jeff Bezos. I'm like, Bezos doesn't make $1 billion a year. His salary, I think, is $1 million plus, it's 80,000 plus bonus. So he makes a couple $1 million per year. He takes out loans against his stock. He cannot sell the stock because of contractual obligations with the structure of the company.
Yeah, but he takes out the loan so he doesn't have to pay taxes on the money.
Well, he can't take out the money. So this is the issue. He owns Amazon. They have, when he wants to sell stock, the stock has to reach a threshold before he can liquidate it.
Yeah.
So if we were to tax him on unrealized gains, he'd be like, I don't have any of that money. Yeah. And they'd be like, sell your stock. I'm not legally allowed to sell the stock. If the government then intervened in the Amazon contract to force him to sell the stock, it would gut the value of Amazon.
Isn't the idea here, though, that you set the company up so that it operates that way so you can take out loans? You're taking out loans against what your potential net worth is, because on a loan, when you're paying the loan back, you don't have to pay any taxes on it.
You don't have to set up the company that way to do that. So if you are the owner of a company and you have liquid stock and you unrealize $1 million in gains, you have unrealized gains of $1 million, you could liquidate the stock or you can get a loan against it.
Yeah, that's true.
Bezos' structure, for whatever reason, by all means accuse him of that structure or otherwise, he can't just sell. But there is no unrealized gains tax, so there's no reason to do that. The structure, I think, has to do with the investors who came in, and if he were to sell too much stock at once, it would tank the value of the company. If they pass unrealized taxes like Kamala wanted to do, he's screwed. Yeah. They just he loses the company. Yep. So he must have been like, turn it around. Twitch, Washington Post, everything, we're pro-Trump now. Or at the very least, neutral. And that's, but to be honest, the advertisers leaving Twitch likely has more to do with the Zionism stuff. Hassan Piker's had some real messed up stuff.
It's part of it. But I mean, it's been happening for a while. The decline of Twitch has been going on for a while, especially with Twitch politics. Twitch politics used to be a pretty brutal place that was kind of fun to go to. Had a lot of good political commentators there. That's all done. That it just doesn't even exist there anymore. Now all that exists is a couple of these big personalities, and if they want you off, you're off. The gamers absolutely hate all the political, any political talk whatsoever, because it's supposed to be a gaming platform, right? So, you know, it doesn't make any sense. Their moderation policy makes no sense, and people just stop watching it. They just don't want to support it.
Let's shift back to politics. We got the story from the Post Millennial. This is big news. PA Supreme Court demands Bucks County follow ruling to not count ineligible ballots during Senate race recount. Well, we've got a couple candidates for the investigation Matt Gaetz could launch. This is, Chuck Ross says, Diane Ellis Marseglia, the Bucks County Commissioner who was openly breaking the law to count invalid ballots, contributed to Bob Casey's campaign in September. For those who don't know, this is the third time the PA Supreme Court has told Democrats to stop counting illegal ballots. I don't think they're going to stop. The funny thing is, everyone in the country is watching this happen. The New York Times and NBC have even been critical, or at the very least pointed out, that Democrats are openly breaking the law and stating they're doing it.
What?
So what do we arrest them?
Did they, well,
Yes.
yes. Once you
Why is that such a foreign concept to be? It's like, arrest him.
Once Trump gets into office, whoever ends up being the AG needs to go and send
Right
the
away.
FBI and arrest them because they're trying to tamper with elections. Clearly, they're knowingly tampering with elections. So go wrap them up. Go ahead and send, if you want to send an entry team to their door at 6 in the morning, 5 in the morning, I'm all for that.
I think you have the opposite result, too, that people think. Like, people think, oh, everyone's going to think you're an authoritarian. I think most people would be like, it's about fucking time. It's about time.
Take a look at this Bucks County Senate race. It was McCormick, and now it flipped Bob Casey. It's not going to change the results. And I think the New York Times hasn't even called the Senate race, to be completely honest. Yeah, the New York Times won't call it, despite the fact that Casey cannot win. So now, the New York Times is actually counting what everyone knows to be illegal ballots.
Yes.
This number should not be inverted. The New York Times should not be calculating illegal ballots the Supreme Court of PA said do not count. That's wild that they're doing this.
And that lady said she was going to count the illegal votes just to make sure that the higher courts pay attention to it. Well, if we get our DOJ in there, they're going to definitely pay attention to it. And
Well, not if, it's just a matter of when.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if Donald Trump will be inaugurated and, like, there's going to be someone that's going to be the...
She's going to get her
Republicans
wish.
have this really bad habit of doing this. Okay, that's all in the past. We're all going to look forward now to the future. We're going to let all of this go. They have a bad habit of doing this.
New world.
I understand what you're saying, but I do think that, especially the people around Trump, like Trump is looking to go in and get rid of a lot of the corruption. That is the mandate, as far as I can tell. That's the mandate that he's got, to get in and drain the swamp. He said that he was going to do it in his first term. Thank you. But he obviously wasn't prepared to do it because he didn't understand how the government worked, how deep the rot went, etc. Now he's got significantly more information. He's much wiser. He's not nearly as naive as he was. Now, again, I'm not saying that he's going to be perfectly successful, but there is going to be an actual, I believe that there's going to be an actual, real attempt that's not just like, oh, I'm going to go in there and fire everybody. I think that the last 4 years that he's had without being the president, I think it's all very good that happened, honestly. As much as people want to say, 2020 was...
I agree.
Was unfairly decided. It's good that he had that happen because he had not just to see what they did when he was in office, but the way that they treated him and the things that they've tried to do since he was out of office.
Well, he doesn't have anything to lose.
No, nothing to lose.
He has nothing to lose at this point. In the next 4 years, he's got 4 years to basically get rid of these scumbags who have done this.
He's got 18 months. He has 18 months. He doesn't have 4 years because once the midterm, the races for the midterm start, he's not going to get any kind of support from Congress.
Yep.
He has,
unless there's not a flip.
Fair enough, but you don't know, and so he's got it. But he has to get it done as soon as possible.
And I would agree with you because we were talking with I can't remember who had on the show. They said
Roger Stone, right?
No, Roger Stone was not on the show for a minute. Once you get to the midterm cycle, a lot of these squishy Republicans are going to be too scared to take these actions because they'll lose. However, I'm going to make the argument now that I don't know is guaranteed, but I think right now the shape of this country is if Republicans try and play that game, they'll lose no matter what. If Republicans play the I'm not going to do anything, they lose. Goodbye. Because no Republican will vote for you. So if you're a Republican, you want to win, the only option you have is to get behind the popular agenda. Because if time comes and you say, look, I'm in a moderate district, so I'm not going to support Trump's agenda and hope I can win Democrat votes, every Republican will primary you. They'll be like, you are done, and we're going to get someone else to run against you.
We are sick and tired of them sitting on their hands writing strongly worded letters.
Well, yeah, but the threat is primary. He's got to get as much done as possible, as long as there is the capacity to primary the people that decide they're not going to go along with him.
Well, we never primary anybody.
No, but the point is that there's a lot of people that are ready to do it, and there's money to do it too, because Elon Musk said that his America PAC will fund primary challenges. So get on board, Republicans. Again, Donald Trump has 18 months, and if you're going to inhibit what the American people have voted for, which is to do as much damage to the corrupt people in the bureaucracy, in the entrenched bureaucracy, get as many of the corrupt people out of there and put them in jail. If you're going to stand in the way, you're going to get primaried. That's not. There's no question about that. Musk's got a boatload of money in the America PAC, and they're going to be watching for people that don't fall in line to support the agenda.
Musk has a massive
Motivation.
He has a massive information machine.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the idea here is that working in tandem with Trump, that they can identify who these people are, so that the Justice Department can go after them and the American people are informed of what's happening.
And because of X, and because of people like Tim, this show here and stuff, these elected officials, they're going to be put on blast. Like, if we get wind of it, someone that's been hindering the efforts to actually get the corrupt people. Again, we're not trying to go after people that are innocent or just trying to mess with people, just mess with people. If you're hindering,
how many of them are innocent though?
Fair enough. But the point being is, I don't want to sound like we're just looking to get the Democrats. I want people to understand that we're after the corrupt. There's plenty of people that are corrupt, and I agree with you. You know, more corruption than not corrupt. But the point is, shows like this, people like Elon Musk, platforms like X, make it impossible to hide. Impossible to hide. If you're not falling in line with the Trump agenda, and you're just looking to pad your re-election, you're going to get primaried.
Well, if he makes that if he makes it a priority, immediate priority, to go after the same people who were responsible for what happened to these people on January 6th, throwing them in jail, not giving them fair trials, none of this. If he really moves towards an agenda like that, then I think he'll be extremely popular immediately.
I think so
and he'll
too.
keep that momentum going. But if he does the same shit that we saw last time, where it's the forgive and forget, we're just looking forward, he's done.
I think we're getting way more.
Gates already.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I mean,
oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Like, if he chose somebody else, you know, I hear Ratcliffe. I'm like, okay, you know, all right. I was hoping for Kash Patel, but maybe Kash will be FBI director.
Gates wants blood.
Yeah. So when
Gates
he said Gates, I was sitting on my phone and I'm scrolling and my eyes are half closed. I can't remember what time the announcement came out. I just started yelling and I like ran to Allison and I was like,
She's like, why are you yelling?
Crap! Yeah, she was like, what's going on? I was like, because first I saw Tulsi Gabbard and I was like, all right, Tulsi Gabbard, DNI, let's go. Then I saw Matt Gates and I was like, oh. So Trump.
Are we going to see a Rand Paul audit the Fed?
Oh, dude.
Are we going to see it? Are we going to see a Rand Paul audit the Fed?
I don't know.
He could be part of Doge. Like,
I mean, Mike Johnson's in Trump's entourage at UFC.
that's kind of weird, but yeah, I guess that means a lot.
Yet, Trump can get Gates in through a recess appointment as long as Mike Johnson says, I want to adjourn. Senate says no. Trump says, Article 2, what is it, Article 2, Section 3, I think? He says, you're hereby adjourned. Then I will appoint through recess for the next year, Matt Gates as AG, have fun. Mike Johnson being there with him on the plane, leaning over as they're eating McDonald's, he's in the entourage.
That's a
It's
big
like you're bringing a nerdy kid into your cool club.
Not only that, but what that is doing is it is messaging to Congress.
Yeah.
It is messaging to Congress. He is saying, as the Speaker of the House, I am on board with the president's agenda. So you are going to have to get on board. And the guy that John Cornyn, I think, is the guy that's the new Thune. Yeah, Thune. So I don't know the whole deal, but I retweeted a thread about some of the backroom deals, and the point of getting Thune was to actually get things like to make it so that way you could get amendments back in bills, because Congress has been voting on bills without amendments for ages and ages and ages, and they're trying to undo the damage that's been done by making everything vote on the whole bill. And if you can get actual amendments back into the bill, then you can get the Senate to have the power and the position back that it was supposed to have. And that's another thing that will help get the Trump agenda.
Well, I don't trust Senate, but it don't matter. Sure. I think, you know, bill-wise and legislatively, these things can be undone. Who knows? It'll be good. Fine. We need proof of citizenship for federal elections. See, I think there's a deal component with Trump and Mike Johnson, where he says, look, Matt Gaetz didn't want you. Matt Gaetz wanted Jim Jordan or somebody else. He obstructed. He led the charge. We'll take him out of your hair. Tells the NRCC, Matt Gaetz, Trump goes, look, Matt Gaetz will no longer be an issue for you. He's going to be my AG. So long.
All right. We're done. I'm chilling. I'm getting tired. Like, I'm really getting tired. So, yeah, we're going to end the stream here. I'm just glad I finished that video. So, we're done. We're good. Bye-bye.